Chair Brown, it does look like we have a quorum and everyone's able to use their device to vote. So when you're ready, we can start.
Very good. Commissioners, welcome this afternoon. Mike, please call the roll.
All right, Chair Brown.
Don Brown, attending remotely from Mount Clemens, Michigan, Macomb County.
Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Commissioner Kleinfeld, attending remotely from East Point, Macomb County, Michigan.
Commissioner Romano.
Commissioner Romano, District 4, Sterling Heights, present and participating remotely in Macomb County, Michigan.
Commissioner Kraft.
Commissioner Phil Kraft, attending remotely from Chesterfield Township, Macomb County, Michigan.
Commissioner Haw.
Commissioner Haw, attending remotely, Roseville, Macomb County, Michigan.
Commissioner Wallace.
Commissioner Wallace, attending remotely, Mount Clemens, Macomb County, Michigan.
Commissioner Song.
Commissioner Song, attending remotely from Warren, Macomb County, Michigan.
Commissioner Van Sickle.
Commissioner Van Sickle, attending remotely, Sterling Heights, Macomb County, Michigan.
Commissioner Zinner.
Commissioner Zinner, attending remotely from Harrison Township, Michigan, Macomb County.
Commissioner Matuzik.
Commissioner Matuzik, participating remotely from Clinton Township, Macomb County, Michigan.
Commissioner Farrington.
Commissioner Farrington, attending remotely from Utica, Macomb County, Michigan.
Commissioner Sabatini.
Commissioner Sabatini, attending remotely from Macomb Township, Macomb County, Michigan.
And Commissioner Nard.
Commissioner Nard, attending remotely from Flint, Michigan, Genesee County, Michigan.
Thank you, and that completes the roll.
Thank you, Michael. Next item is Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item is invocation. Every month will be a different member of the commission will be offered an opportunity to give the invocation for the full board meeting. This has been a tradition the board has long had since I've been on it for 30 years. And for some reason, we haven't been doing that to start off the year, probably from all the concern over COVID and the procedure we've been following to make us all legal. So, but it starts today with me, and you all would bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask you for your guidance and blessings on us today as we do the will of, do your will, and hopefully do the will of all the people of the county. Our hearts are in the one place with one mind, one mission to serve the people of our county. Give us the strength and wisdom to do so. In your name we pray. In your name, Heavenly Father, Jesus. Amen. All right. Next item is that option, the agenda. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion to adopt by Nard.
Second, Zinner.
Motion's been made and supported. Please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
Very good. Item 5 is approval of the minutes dated April 13th, 2021. I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion of minutes.
Moved by Commissioner Romano, supported by Commissioner Van Sickle. Any additions or corrections? Seeing none, please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 6 is public participation. This is the first opportunity for public participation for those who wish to speak for a maximum of 5 minutes on any item on today's agenda. There'll be a second opportunity following public participation at the end of the meeting where you can speak in any issue for 5 minutes. Those planning to speak during public participation are to be advised that according to Rule 21 adopted by the board rules, personal attacks, coarse and derogatory language, and cursing will not be tolerated. Individuals using such language will be removed from the meeting. Also, those who call in by phone for public participation will be asked to speak first in an orderly fashion. Those who join virtually will then be asked to type their name into the chat box, and those names will be called out in the order in which they were received. So anyone who wishes to be heard on members of the public who are on the phone, please press *6, and you have 5 minutes. And our staff will also be shepherding us through the comment period. So who's up first? Staff?
Chair, we have Lori Stone first.
Thank you. Please go ahead, Lori. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon. My name is Lori Stone. I'm state representative for the 28th House District, but I'm also a resident of the 2nd Commission District. I'd like to thank Commissioner Song for offering a resolution condemning the hate directed at Asian American populations. I am a member of the Legislative Asian Pacific American Caucus because my communities of Warren and Centerline are home to a diverse population, including many of Asian ethnicity. I recognize that there has been an increase in hateful rhetoric and violence directed at our neighbors and our Asian American communities nationally. As leaders, it is our opportunity as well as responsibility to set an example in our communities. I ask you to adopt this resolution, letting Macomb County residents know that hate has no home here. Thank you for your time and your efforts.
Thank you, Representative. Thank you for taking the time to join us in your busy schedule today. Next.
Chair, next is Donna Conjemi.
Thank you. Please go ahead. You have 5 minutes, Donna.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for your consideration for the open position on the CMH Board. I would like to supplement my previous application to give you a more complete picture of my qualifications. I have a history of treating substance abuse, adolescence, intake, group, and adult treatment history over my 30 years of working in the mental health field. I have worked directly for Macomb County Community Mental Health for 23 of those years. I am familiar with the department, the policies, the mental health code, the administrators, and the mental health board. I first entered the mental health field when I was at Children's Hospital of Detroit in the head trauma unit, where I assessed for lead poisoning as well as for trauma from abuse and neglect. I then moved on to the Macomb Intermediate School District at Rockwell Middle School, doing therapy with severely emotionally impaired middle school students throughout Macomb County. I worked with families in their homes and in the clinic. I interacted with school and clinic personnel, as well as performing individual, family, and group therapy and attending IEPCs. I followed this with a job at Community Human Services in Romeo, working in Armada, Anchor Bay, and Romeo schools, performing assessments and therapy on students who were either substance abusers or who had at least a parent who was a substance abuser. This program was financed through the Macomb County Office of Substance Abuse. I also did substance abuse meetings weekly for persons who were court-ordered for treatment. And I also treated court-ordered substance abusers. After my hire at CMH, I once again worked at the Macomb Intermediate School Districts at Neil Reed High School as a therapist working with high school students. After a few years, I moved into the outpatient clinic at First Research and Treatment Southeast, doing intakes, developing and directing a group for those persons diagnosed as borderline personality disorder, performing weekly therapy on children, adolescents, and adults, in excess of carrying a caseload of 100 clients. As stated, I have worked in the mental health field for 30 years in the areas of schools, hospitals, children, adolescents, adults, and substance abuse. I continue to retain an ongoing education in the field and maintain my licensure as a licensed master social worker. Also, during the last 20 years, I worked as the full-time president of ASME Local 411. I appreciate your time this afternoon, and I would really appreciate your vote. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Kangemi. Who's next?
Next is Pamela Lideline.
Hi,
Thank
my name is Pamela Lideline. I am a retired educator from L'Anse Creuse Public Schools, and I am a resident of Macomb Township. I am addressing item 18B on your agenda, and I support Resolution 2021-6312 condemning hate crimes, hateful rhetoric, and hateful acts against Asian American, and encouraging the report of hate crimes to proper authorities. Macomb County should offer a safe and open environment for all current and future residents. Hate crimes should not be tolerated. As a county board, it is your responsibility to support this resolution to condemn hate crimes and encourage victims of hate crimes to report incidents to proper authorities. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Next is Cardi DeMonico Jr.
Thank you, Adriana. Chairman Brown and the Macomb County Board of Commissioners, my name's Cardi DeMonico Jr. I'm a member of the East Point City Council and, of course, a resident of East Point. I called in today to comment on Resolution 2021-6312 also, the resolution condemning hate crimes, hateful rhetoric, and hateful acts against Asian Americans, and encouraging the report of hate crimes to proper authorities. First of all, I fully support this resolution, including all the examples mentioned in the resolution. Discrimination of Asian Americans has been sadly happening right in front of all of us, and not just in the presence of Asian Americans by racists. Early 2020 to January 2021, we had our president calling the coronavirus the China virus. This will do nothing but cause further discrimination, and he well knew this. It's time that we address all these issues here in Macomb County and support our Asian American friends. As a white male, I do not know what it's like to be discriminated against, but that does not mean I cannot speak out against discrimination when I see it, and that's why I'm here to urge the commission to pass this resolution. Hope this resolution passes without changing it to support other groups of people or whatnot. Those are not the folks being discriminated against. When we don't recognize our differences is when we cannot address discrimination. To be colorblind is to not notice certain folks being treated differently. I hope that the three commissioners reconsider expanding the resolution to other groups. We all know that hate crimes happen to all types of folks. Two of you considering expanding the resolution are white, just like me. And just because discrimination of Asian Americans was not personally witnessed by you or I does not mean that it does not exist or that it's only been happening for the past 2 years. Arming yourself in response to discrimination is also certainly not the solution. And posting things on Facebook such as, quote, liberals are saying the American flag is offensive to Muslims. Share if you don't give a damn. It's helpful to no one and also not true. So thank you for your time and listening to my concerns.
Thank you. Who's next, Adriana?
Next is Kim Shina.
Thank you, Chairman Brown and Commissioners, for the opportunity to speak with you today regarding the open position on the Community Mental Health Board. It's been my honor to serve on various advisory committees, including the Macomb County Controlled Substance Advisory Commission for 5 years in the past, and also on the State of Michigan Controlled Substance Advisory Commission for 4 years. I continue to seek out volunteer opportunities in my community where I can be of service in the area of mental health, including substance use disorders. When Helen Klinger emailed me that there were openings on the Community Mental Health Board, and she thought that I would be a good candidate, I decided to apply. As an individual who's been in recovery for over 21 years, and as a relative of several family members who have battled severe and moderate mental health issues and substance use disorders, I have a personal interest in contributing in any way I can to affect a change for the good of our community. As a professional counselor, I have spent over 10 years working with this population on a part-time basis. And I'm often faced with the realization that was so aptly put by one of my previous supervisors that we continue to try to fight this forest fire with a garden hose. Anything I can do to either personally or professionally assist in streamlining access to mental health care or prevention services in Macomb County, I wouldn't hesitate to share my time and my resources. Thank you for your consideration of my application to serve in this capacity and for your time today.
Thank you very much.
Hello? Commissioner Brown?
Yes, are you in the order to speak?
I'm sorry, I don't know if my name's there. This is Don Habkirk.
Okay, please go ahead, Don. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. It's been a long time since I've been in front of the board. In fact, Commissioner Brown is the only commissioner that's there when I retired 11 years ago. My name is Don Habkirk. I'm from Shelby Township. I'm a retiree. I was the former director of community mental health in Macomb County. And I'm here today to endorse the candidacy of Donna Kangemi for a position on the mental health board. In addition to the qualifications that she's outlined, there's a couple of reasons why I endorse her for the good of the board. She brings in a lot of knowledge and experience with our system. As she mentioned, she was a therapist. But the other piece of it is she has widespread support of the personnel of the community mental health system. In fact, the county system, being previously a steward and then president of our union. She's a very skilled therapist. She is a wonderful listener, and she's been a good friend for many years. So I encourage the commissioners to support Donna's request to be on the Community Mental Health Board. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Habkirk. Good to hear from you again. Who's next?
Chair, next we have Jen Miller.
On the agenda today, I would like to thank Chairman Brown and the fellow commissioners for honoring Jennifer Callens for her 9 years of service on the Macomb County Arts Institute Authority. Her expertise will be very much missed, and I really appreciate the Board of Commissioners under the chairmanship of Don Brown recognizing when we have volunteers in our community who go above and beyond. We appreciate our volunteers being recognized, and I want to thank Commissioner Brown and the rest of the committee, and most importantly, Jennifer Callens. Thank you very much for your work on behalf of the Macomb County Art Institute.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Who's next?
Chair, we do not have, oh, I'm sorry, Alyssa Diebold is next.
Very good.
Hi there, I'm Alyssa Diebold. I'm also a resident of East Point, and I currently serve as the chair of the Arts and Cultural Diversity Commission for the city. It's one of the many hats that I wear throughout my time. I'm also an artist professionally. I'm here to echo previous comments real briefly in support of Resolution 2021-6312. I would really like to see the Board of Commissioners pass it as written. I think it is beautifully and eloquently presented in a way that really needs to be passed by this body today. So I don't want to belabor it much, but I do want to echo support that has already been made today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, there isn't anybody else listed in the chat box. Anybody on the phone, if you press *6 to unmute yourself, you can speak.
Mr. Chairman, there is another person that raised his hand through the system, not through the chat box. Tony Plewa.
Okay. Mr. Plewa, please go ahead. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. I am an applicant for the CMH board, open seat, also a resident of Shelby Township. I have a 51-year-old son with autism. Therefore, I am a family member that's a user of the CMH services, and have to tell you that it is a... Pardon me?
There's background staff. Can we delete that or mute that call? till it's their time? Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Cleo. Sorry.
We have used our community mental health services for more than 35 years, and it has had a great outcome with the challenging behavior of autism. I have been a member of the Citizens Advisory Council to the board and a CMH board member since 2017. And one of the things I'd love to point out, in addition to the facts that I have listed on my application, I have attended numerous meetings and conferences and assignments on the CMH board, both state and national. And I would still love to share the things that I have learned on those boards and committees with CMH as a support. And I also am very familiar with Medicaid knowledge, and also which is the main supporter of the CMH budget. And also want to point out that in the case of autism, that's one of the biggest budget items that we have. And of course, it's unfortunate that money talks so well. I'm very familiar with that. I also am a very strong supporter of keeping our legislators and our policymakers aware of what our needs are so that they don't put us on a back burner. So that support for dollars is something that I maintain as a very strong desire. I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Plewa. Anyone else on the phone wish to be heard? You can press *6 on your phone. You have 5 minutes to speak on any item on the agenda. Anyone else on the phone wish to be heard? Press *6 on your phone.
This is Ernest Martin.
Please go ahead, Mr. Smart.
Oh, I was calling and let you know that I love cleaning up around my community, keeping the grass cut, and going to the store for older people that can't get out. And I go to the store for them, and I do a lot of stuff around. So I got a letter stating I'm supposed to be talking to y'all. So I was letting y'all know exactly what I do. I make sure the community is cleaned up real well.
Thank you very much.
Okay, then. Thank you very much for having me on.
Very good.
Chair Dave Flynn raised his hand.
Excuse me?
No, you're done, sir. You can press *6 to take yourself off the live feed, and you can listen to the rest of the meeting or watch it, depending on however you're doing it. It's Commissioner Kleinfeld. Who did you say? I don't see a hand raised.
Dave Flynn had raised his hand.
Dave Flynn, are you out there? Please go ahead. You have 5 minutes to speak on any item on the agenda. There you are.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners. 3007 Vincetta Boulevard, Royal Oak, Michigan, 48073. I just wanted, on behalf of the DIA, to thank Jennifer Callens for her over a decade of service to the Macomb Art Authority. I voted for her as commissioner and chair, and she's done a wonderful job of being a great check and balance to the museum. She's tough, she asks good questions, she's thoughtful, and she's made the DIA and our relationship with Macomb County better. And as the past 2 years as chair, she's done an excellent job. And on behalf of the museum, the DIA community wanted to thank her for that. And I also heard, I'm not sure that you have a resolution for Patty today. And obviously, you know, she's somebody who is very close and near and dear to me. And I just want to, you know, it's a big loss for Macomb County, as everybody knows. But, you know, she's just done an amazing job of bringing the Board of Commissioners, transitioning from chair to chair, which isn't easy, transitioning form of government. I think the world of her, and I just wanted to put in my 2 cents on that as well. So with that, I know you have a busy agenda, but it's nice to see many of you. And to the new commissioners, I hope to meet you and, you know, build a new relationship. And if the DIA can be helpful in any way, let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flynn. Anyone else? Anybody in the chat box? Staff, is there anyone in the chat box?
Chair, we do not have anyone else join in the chat box.
Okay, very good. And no one else on the phone. Very good. We'll close public participation. There'll be another public chance to participate at the end of the agenda on any subject you wish to speak about. Item 7 is correspondence from the executive. There is none. Item 8 is proclamations. We have a proclamation commending Patty Dipp for 15 years of dedicated service to the Macomb County Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you. I'd like to go ahead and move it, but Chair, if you would like to read it or comment on it, that's fine. And then I'm sure a few of us will have some things to say. So I move it.
You move it, and
support Sabatini.
Sabatini.
If you'd like me to speak to it, I will.
Why don't you go ahead and speak to it, Commissioner?
Okay. Is Patty on? I don't see Patty on my screen.
Patty is on. I believe she is on a phone call right now, though.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to read the entire proclamation. We have a long meeting, but the proclamation embodies a lot of the things that Patty is. It speaks to her relationship with our staff and how she lifts them up and encourages them. It speaks to her personal relationships with the commissioners and how she mentors new commissioners. And it does speak to her helping in transitioning to the executive charter form of government, as well as getting everybody through COVID with our sanity intact. All of you know we are going to miss her tremendously. This was a devastating loss for me. And I just know that each and every one of us appreciates her tremendously. And if she ever gets tired of Oakland County, I'd like to see her come back. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Patty and I have been together this board a long time. Her and I are the original two on this board for a long time. And no doubt, it's just former chairman Dave Flynn said, she's helped manage between the incoming chairs of this board for a long time. And that's not an easy job. And how lucky for me as a chairman to have her stay with us as long as she had to get me through the initial period of my transition. And she's got a great heart. She's got a great caring heart. For anyone to call that phone, whether they're upset or angry or happy, she had a way of taking them and helping them and holding their hand over the phone and calming them down and directing them the right path to get them to where they need to be. And that's a skill that's it's certainly something that's very valuable. And she's been a blessing to me personally as well as to the community. And I can't say enough good words about her. And I know she's going to go on and excel on her new role in Oakland County. And she's going to help us in Oakland County because I know where she lives and where I can get a hold of her and call her every time I need her for something. So she's going to be an asset to us. And we're going to be working closely on the project we're working on right now. So Patty, you're just a wonderful, wonderful person and a true professional and a model for many to follow you. So any other comments? Any other commissioner wish to be heard on this? Just speak right up. If there's anyone else, Commissioner Kraft.
I said my piece last time and almost ruined the surprise, so I'm going to keep it very short, very sweet. But Patty, you've been with me for the 4 years that I've been here, and it has been fantastic. You've been my go-to person. You've basically been my person on this board. So seeing you leave hurt my heart probably close to as much as it hurt Commissioner Kleinfeld's heart. I will miss you terribly, but just like Don said, I know exactly where to find you. So thank you, Patty, for all your years of service. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Kraft. Commissioner Ha.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to thank Patty for the tremendous amount of help that she offered on any given issue, any of the time when we were passing out yoga bags and things like that. Patty was always the first one there. I'm going to miss her immensely, but I look forward to working with her in Oakland County. on some initiatives that our chairman has going. And Patty, good luck to you, best to your family, and God bless. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. You know, through the many years, commissioners have come and gone on this board, and Patty was always there to make sure that they receive as much information, as much help. And at times it may have seemed like an overwhelming amount of information being new to the board, but she made sure the commissioners had a new and complete package of information to answer any question they needed 24 hours a day. And another reason why we like you so much, Patty.
Chair Brown, if I may, Commissioner
Please
Romano.
go ahead, Commissioner Romano.
Well, I think I'm going to miss. Patty was convinced me to do yoga on the Hill, and I'm not a yoga fan by any stretch of the imagination. But I did show up. I did enjoy myself. She's been a tremendous asset, not only to myself but to everybody. And just so that everybody knows, I'm moving to Oakland County, and I'm going to run for county commissioner in Oakland County so that I can be with Patty again. That's all I have. Thank you, Chairman Brown.
Thank you. We all know that was just editorial humor. That wasn't a factual statement, but to put a full disclaimer on there, we're not losing Commissioner Romano to Oakland County anytime soon. Oh,
thank you.
Thank you. See, I don't see any other speakers.
Chair Brown, this is Commissioner Sabatini.
Go ahead,
I just want to follow up, Patty. You know, coming back to the board this year, and now you leaving, obviously makes me sad. But you've been a mentor to me. Wish you all the best, and I know you're just a phone call away. So just wanted to wish you all the best and thank you for all the years that you've served this board. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Chair,
Anybody else?
Chair Barb Setter,
Please.
I would say the mark of a true professional, Patty, was no matter what time of day or night, she might be pulling her hair out. She might throw things afterwards, which I doubt either of those, but she was always professional. No matter what the situation or what was before or after, you would never know. You would never know. She was such a professional and such a kind person. She's a remarkable person.
Very good. Anyone else? Without further ado, the guest of honor, Patty, would you wish to say a few words?
Absolutely. I'm so honored by this, and I'll cherish this really as something extremely special going forward. It's been, a good part of my life and a good part of my professional career spent with all of you and your predecessors, and it's been an honor. I always felt like it was more of my family, all of you, and treated all of you like I would want my family members treated. And as you know, I get a little protective of my family members, so I was always willing to do battle for you guys, and I still carry that with me. So just know that in Oakland County, anytime Macomb comes up, I'm definitely advocating and cheering for Macomb always. So thank you so much. I do miss all of you already, and I'm glad that you're close by. And I'm still a Macomb County resident, and I'm still in Commissioner Hawes' district. So as Commissioner Kraft said, you know where to find me, and I'll always be here for you. So thank you so much. It's a great honor, and I just treasure this. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. You were the den mother of this board, that's for sure. And most of the time it wasn't for fun, but we did cause you some grief. There's no doubt about it through the years. And but you've always answered with a smile, despite the pain you were feeling inside. So we're going to really miss you. And you were part of the family for sure. And we know and Margaret, a good manager is the team that she leaves behind. And you've got good staff in place too. Sometimes a manager leaves and there's a big void and people don't know what to do. But you've done a good job training the staff, which is a credit to your professional ability to make sure that the staff's been cross-trained and do the things to carry on in your absence. And that's another credit to you, and another reason why it makes you so valuable. So anyway, take care, and God bless you, Patty, and we're here for you anytime you need something. You got a whole family here to help you in any way we can. So thank you. I need a motion to, we have a motion to receive and file. Can I have a vote for that, please?
Chair, this is a motion to approve, is it not? It's a proclamation.
Yeah, it's approved. Motion
We
to
already
approve.
had a motion on the floor. Thank you.
Yes, that's right. We're voting on it. Thank you. All right.
That motion passes unanimously.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. And again, have a good afternoon, Patty, and we'll see you soon. Item number 8B is a proclamation commending Jennifer Callens for her dedicated service to the Macomb County Art Institute Authority Board. I need a motion to approve.
Moved by Kleinfeld.
Zinner, second.
Thank you. Jennifer successfully chaired the board using her knowledge and critical perspective in order to focus on areas of the greatest impact as on the DIA board. She also invested in enormous amounts of her time, energy, and effort and took interest in the community's structure and function while remaining committed to the operational excellence of the museum. She was held in high regard and has high regard for culture and context, which made a lasting impact in her work and organizational capacity of the building. Jennifer worked on the board, was enormous for asset for Macomb County and the DIA and the promotion of the arts and culture in our county while encouraging greater participation for the entire community. We're very happy and proud to present her with this proclamation to honor Jennifer for her achievements and service to the Art Institute Authority. And Jennifer, I can't understate that enough. You're under your leadership and the others with your other fellow board members of doing outreach on behalf of the DIA into the community and making the DIA more real and more relevant for residents of our county who have graciously supported with their tax dollars is key to the continued success of that operation and continued Macomb County support. You've helped me personally on questions that I've had with the DIA. You've helped arrange things out in my community with the DIA to make them get outreach. You've helped many communities with senior centers and bus trips back and forth to the DIA. You've just been a huge asset, as well as demanding accountability for the finances which we entrust to them. And there have been difficult questions asked over the years of the DIA, and you weren't afraid to ask them on our behalf as well as others in the community. So I have the highest regard for you, and I'm very proud to call you a friend. And is there anyone else that wishes to say anything in honor of this fine person? Jennifer, do you have anything you wish to add?
I would just say it has been an honor to serve the citizens of Macomb County for the past 9 years in this capacity. I think that the authority has done really excellent work and has built a very strong relationship with the Detroit Institute of Arts, and I have no doubt that that excellent work will continue. And I look forward to now just being a member of the Detroit Institute of Arts and just getting to go and visit and to watching from the sidelines. So thank you all very much for the support that you continue to give to the authority. And it's really been an honor and a pleasure to work on your behalf and on behalf of all the citizens of Macomb. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer, so much. There's been a motion made and supported to approve. Can I have a vote?
That motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next item is number 8C, Proclamation Committee, Macomb County Emergency Management and COVID-19 team on the efforts during the COVID-19 pandemic. Commissioner Romano.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Romano, and if I may, Chair.
Support by Fair.
Thank you. I
Please go ahead,
read
Joe.
the
The floor is
proclamation
yours.
before. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chair.
No, please go ahead, Joe.
Okay, thank you. I read the proclamation before, and I'm just going to just mention this, if I may. I'm not going to go through the whole proclamation again. But, you know, the Macomb County residents have benefited immensely from the specialized knowledge and skills of each of the highly trained individuals who make up the Macomb County Emergency Management COVID-19 team with Vicki as their leader. And through their selfless efforts and actions, they've done this around the clock. And all I want to add to that is, Vicki, you and your staff have done a fantastic job at protecting the residents of Macomb County. This proclamation, it's really just a very, very small way of saying from all of us, thank you and thank your staff. And to those people out there that are listening who have not had their shots, I'm at 16 Mile in Van Dyke, and I went to the Remuelden building with my wife and I to get our shots. From my house to the building, getting our shots and returning home was 45 minutes. That's how efficient they are. Again, and once again, thank you, Vicki, to you and your staff. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Romano. Commissioner Ha.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to reiterate some of Joe's comments and support the proclamation during this crisis time, unprecedented in the history of the world. I think our team in Macomb County surpassed any other team around. I just had a friend of mine who just happens to be a Macomb County Circuit judge go through and get his vaccination, and his comment was the Macomb team should be running the state. He was in and out of there in 35 minutes, Joe, and just had to call and say, if the opportunity presents itself, please congratulate all that are involved, all that's been done in the most unprecedented times this world has ever seen. So Vicki, to you and the entire team, this board and our chairman, as well as the Office of OEC, have supported you and will continue to do so. We're not done. We're not through this pandemic, and through your efforts, lives have been saved. So thank you for that. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman, or Mr. Ha. Is there anyone else? I want to add my comments of, under the leadership of you, Vicki, and no one does everything by themselves. It's the whole team, and the planning and the logistics and is an enormous undertaking for this whole county to be coordinated in a way. We're now well over 500,000 people being vaccinated in this county. I mean, we started from zero, and look where we're at today. And it's a credit to everyone on your team, everyone up and down the chain that had a role in making this be a successful operation. And we're still to be challenged to be coming along, but certainly your experience and leadership is enormous. And we've got good people. That's what makes this county such a remarkable place and such a value for being the citizens, for the amount of tax dollars that people pay for their county government, the quality service they get, as evidenced by the emergency management services and leadership of COVID during this crisis has been remarkable. And that we have to be the envy of the region, if not the entire state. So thank you on behalf of all the commissioners and the members of the public for the good work you do, because everywhere we go, we hear compliments about how quick and how efficient the process has been going through the centers, and how many places there are to go to it. Used to be just one, and now they're popping up all over the place, thanks to your team's responsive efforts. So we don't want to go long on this, but I think you get the message. We're very appreciative of what you've been doing. Vicki, is there anything you want to say?
Yes, please. Thanks, Chair Brown, and thanks to the rest of the Board of Commissioners. I know I spoke at committee. I'll try to keep it a little briefer then, but from all of the COVID team, and as you said, it's more than just the EOC team. It's everybody. It takes the whole county and all of the employees to do what we do. These are the most dedicated individuals and professionals who are selfless and are truly service oriented. And I think we're made to be in all the positions that they're in, and care so much about the service that we've delivered. I've often said through through the pandemic. This is probably the most trying time of my professional career. We've laughed, we've cried. I can't tell you how many times we've argued behind the scenes just to make sure that we get it right with the knowledge that we all have and that we come to the table with. So on behalf of the team, thank you very much. Again, it's a pleasure to work with you. All of you are part of that team. Together, we've made this happen. We challenge one another. We support one another. So kudos to all of you as well. And again, thank you from all of us.
Thank you, Vicki. We appreciate you. Motion's been made and supported to approve it. Please cast your vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
Thank you, Michael. Item 8D, a proclamation offered in remembrance of Clinton Township Police Chief Frederick Posovitz, offered by Commissioner Matuzik. We're going to move and approve this today, and this will be presented at a future event in the community by Commissioner Matuzik and the other commissioners who wish to join her. Commissioner Matuzik, did you have anything you wanted to say on this?
Well, first, let me move adoption.
All right, very good.
I'll second.
First things first. Very
Thank
good.
you.
All right.
As Chair Brown said, there's going to be a larger community celebration of the chief's life coming up, and it will be appropriate to present the resolution to the department and to his family at that point. The chief died an untimely death as a result of complications from COVID. He served our community for 40 years, started in the police department, started at the bottom and worked his way up to chief. He created and brought to the township many innovative services. He actually started the Canine Corps and programs and instituted rigorous training and professionalism in the department that has really been important. So I thank everyone for supporting this resolution, and it's an honor to honor him. He's the kind of public servant we all want to have around us. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Matuzik. Is there anyone else that had any comment? Okay, there's been a motion made and supported to approve. Please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Matuzik. And I'm sure you'll let us know when that ceremony happens. And I'm sure there'll be 7 of us coming out to honor the memory of the good chief. Item 9 is appointments. Item 9A, Community Mental Health Board appointment. We have 1 vacancy for a 3-year term to begin April 1st, 2021 to expire in March 31st of 2024. The names are listed there in your agenda. The roll will be called, and you'll be we'll call out 1 name, and Krista will call the roll. Majority vote is what's required. So, Krista, would you call the roll?
Yes, we'll start with Commissioner Farrington.
Anthony Plewa.
Kleinfeld.
Donna Conjemi.
Kraft.
Anthony Plua.
Matuzik.
Donna Conjemi.
Nard.
Donna Conjemi.
Romano.
Donna Conjemi.
Sabatini.
Anthony Plua.
Van Sickle.
Anthony Plewa.
Wallace.
Teresa McGarity.
Song.
Donna Conjemi.
Zinner.
Anthony Plua.
Haw.
Donna Conjemi.
And Brown.
Anthony Plua.
Okay, so we have a tie between Conjemi and Plua. Each have 6 votes.
Okay, so Go ahead, Crystal.
Okay, so I can do a second round with just those two.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Farrington,
Anthony Plua,
Kleinfeld,
Donna Conjemi,
Kraft,
Anthony Plua,
Matusik,
Donna Conjemi,
Nard,
Donna Conjemi,
Romano,
Donna Conjemi,
Sabatini,
Anthony Plua,
Van Sickle,
Anthony Plua,
Wallace,
Donna Conjemi,
Song,
Donna Conjemi,
Zinner,
Anthony Plua,
Haw,
Donna Conjemi,
and Brown.
Anthony Plua.
Okay, Donna Conjemi received 7 votes, so she received the majority to be appointed.
Congratulations, Donna Conjemi. Thank you for all the applicants for applying for these terms. Please remain active and stay current. And we need your expertise and advice on these boards. So please don't be a stranger. Continue to be active and seek out these appointments as they come forward again. So,
Chair, point of order. So we've done the poll. I'd like to finish it off with a motion to appoint Donna Conjemi.
That'd be fine. Go ahead. Is there support?
Support from Kraft.
Romano supports.
Well, actually, I don't know if it's, I think it's redundant, actually, because we just appointed her to do that. It'd be like having another vote.
We didn't make a motion. We had this discussion like a month ago, the same discussion. We did a vote, but we moved by motions. So I think that's the way that we should do these.
Well, it's redundant, but we'll go ahead and vote.
Okay, you're the chair. If you want to
We'll vote it. It's fine. It's no big deal. All right, please call a vote. Unanimous ballot cast for Donna Conjemi.
I don't think it was unanimous.
Well, it wasn't unanimous, but
No, that wasn't the motion.
no.
Okay. That motion passes 11-1 with Commissioner Farrington voting no and Commissioner Zinner abstaining.
Okay. All right, very good. Next item is number 9B, Ethics Board appointment. This is an executive appointment with the concurrence of the board for 1 5-year term to expire January 31st, 2026. We have Ann Roscoe, who's been nominated by the executive for this appointment. I need a motion to concur.
motion by Haw,
support Farrington.
Any discussion? Please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
All right. Item 9C, Macomb Arts Institute Authority. This is my appointment, board chair appointment for a 1-year vacancy for a 2-year term to expire April 30th, 2023. I've put forward the name of Edward Bruley. I need a motion to concur.
Matusik moves.
Support Wallace.
Very good. Please vote.
That motion passes 7-5 with Commissioners Romano, Zinner, Kraft, Farrington, and Sabatini voting no, and Commissioner Van Sickle abstaining.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Go ahead, Go ahead. Yes, Mr. Haw.
When a commissioner abstains, they usually have to identify the reason they're abstaining. And if there's no personal gain, that's usually the reason for abstaining. So I just thought I'd point that out. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
I'd be happy to explain why I abstained in the previous vote, if that's what you want.
No, not really, Barb. That's gone.
Well, we're done.
We're
Okay.
done with that.
All right. Item 10 is presentations, a green school presentation. We have a Commissioner Farrington.
Point of order, Chairman Brown.
Yes.
Vice Chair Hall brought up a very good point that we need to follow the rules here. So that is how it goes. If someone abstains, it has to be for a conflict of interest, or they're not allowed to, I do believe.
Okay. Commissioner Zinner, what is your reason for abstention?
Actually, we're on the vote of the current one, not the previous one.
Yes. On the vote for Arts Authority. Commissioner Zinner?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted to continue with what we were doing right now.
No. It's a point of order raised and a rightful point of order about reason to disclose why the abstention.
I think I have great respect for every one of the commissioners. You all know that. We're not always going to agree. But I think when we received that letter from AFSCME promoting Mrs. Congemi, there's 1,600,000 million people that are behind her, according to the director of that letter. So that to me makes me concerned about what is her number one priority. Now, other people may not see it that way, but when you have that kind of letter come for that, and I had spoken with someone, not Phil, someone else in that general area months ago, and someone told me that her voting may not necessarily go number one for the people, for the citizens. And my voting here is always for the citizens first. So that was my concern, and that letter pushed me over for it. I mean, I didn't vote for her before, but that letter, that just makes me concerned, and she was part of that. So I want people on these boards that are going to put our citizens first, always. I'm not saying she's not a fine person. I'm sure she's a very fine person, but that was a concern of mine.
But that wasn't the reason. But that wasn't the abstention, though, right? Did you vote to abstain on that?
I would have voted no, but I was just a little frustrated, and I said I'm just going to abstain because I was frustrated, I guess. So I didn't really want to go against the commissioners because I like you guys, because my vote was going to be no. So I wasn't sure, and I just abstained. I didn't have anything personal to gain from it.
Okay.
Chair, there was another commissioner that did abstain for our current vote.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that proper. I didn't come across clear to me.
The vote that we just made for the DIA, there was
another abstention as well. Yeah. What was the reason for the abstention on the DIA vote?
This is Commissioner Van Sickle. I abstained. Yes. The reason I abstained is because I had several constituents address concerns about the person being nominated to me, but I was not able to verify or clear those concerns myself directly, so I was not prepared to vote for the person because of these comments and concerns. But since I wasn't able to verify them, I wasn't prepared to say no.
All right.
I have no personal connection to the individual.
All right. Thank you. And was there any other abstention, Michael, on that vote? I wasn't clear on that. There was just one abstention on that vote, or was there another abstention on that vote also?
Nope, there was just the one abstention on CMH and then the other abstention on the Art Authority.
Okay, very good. Those have been clarified. Appreciate that. Respect the commissioner's views on all of those, and we'll go forward. Item 10 is presentations on the 2021 Green Schools recognition. And we have Commissioner Jeff Farrington on that. We need a motion first to receive and file this, and then we'll move to Commissioner Farrington.
Motion to
Moved by
receive by Nard.
Sabatini.
Motion by Nard, supported by Hall, I think I heard. All right, the motion's been made. It's on the floor. Commissioner Farrington.
Thank you very much, staff. If you can go to the first slide in the presentation. Courtney, if you can go to the first slide in the presentation.
There's one up, I think. I see.
It's not the first one, Mr. Chairman.
It's not the first one. Okay.
I think there we go. Well, I appreciate everything that we're going through here. Today we're recognizing 47 Macomb County schools. They achieved the Michigan Green School status, a feat that certainly could not have been easy considering the circumstances over the past year. It's exciting to see so many schools remain committed to the program, especially this year, because of the deep-rooted history it has with Macomb County Board of Commissioners. This office began sponsoring the Green Schools program in 2008, 2 years after it was signed into the law through Public Act 146. Since then, we've seen schools throughout the county incorporate the Green Schools program with their curriculum and programs, such as e-waste recycling days, gardening, environmental clubs, and more have been created since. Schools receive points based on the certain criteria they meet as dictated by the law. In order to receive the Green School status, schools must at least earn 10 points. With that in mind, I'm happy to say 7 Macomb County schools are also being recognized for achieving the Green School status for all 13 years of the program, and they're being honored with the Sustainability Award for that achievement. Now, schools that earn between 10 and 14 points receive a green designation. This year, we had 25 schools achieve green status. They're all listed on this slide. Give you a moment to look at it, and congratulations to all those schools. This presentation is available in our pack, and the names of the Macomb County Green Schools and their designations are also available on our website. Now, as we move on to the next group, schools that earn between 15 and 19 points receive an Emerald designation. This year, we had 13 schools achieve Emerald status, as shown on the slide. Again, congratulations to all the schools. We'll give a moment so you can look at it. As we move on to the next group, the highest designation a school can receive is Evergreen status. A school must earn 20 or more points to be considered Evergreen. This year, there are 9 Evergreen schools, and on this list that you see on your screen, congratulations to all those schools. And we'll move on. In addition to achieving green school status, schools can also receive a special honors for being the top school in their particular designation. Continuous years of program participation, as already mentioned, with the Sustainability Award and other specialty awards listed on the slide. But I want to note some of them. This year, the green schools are as follows. Top green schools are as follows. The best green school, Jeanette Junior High. The best Emerald School, DLSL Collegiate High School. For best Evergreen School, Thomas Jefferson Elementary. And for the best overall green school in Macomb County, Chippewa Valley High School. Congratulations to all these schools for their high level achievement. There are also 3 schools being recognized with the Perseverance Award this year because they went up a level of designation during the pandemic. The final 2 awards being presented this year focus on specific individuals, as highlighted next. So one way for a school to earn points for a green school status is to submit student logos, one of which is then chosen to represent the program on communications for the following year. Submitted logos must reflect a connection with the environment in some way. This year, we received 45 submissions, all of which are creative, thoughtful, and truly showed each student's personal connection with nature. Of those submissions received, Centerline High School Yuri Hers was chosen as this year's winner. Yuri had the following to say about the logo. In my logo, I made everything connect. Because if you think about it, everything is a cycle. From the leaf to the waves and the land, everything on there was a part of nature. I think that's what Green School's main focus is. We play a big role, but the focus is to keep this world green. Thank you, Yuri, for taking the time to create such a fantastic logo. Congratulations. On this slide, another special award the Green Schools program gives out annually is the Green Advocate Award. This honor is given to the individual who has made exceptional contributions to preserving the environment, and this year the recipient has shown that his thumb might actually be green. James Swank is a volunteer at Carleton Middle School, who when the world was turned upside down, James stepped in to ensure the plants in the school greenhouse were cared for. He made hallway displays and highlighted animals, and the school adopted and helped collect and deliver warm clothing items students gathered during the Giving Tree clothing drive. Joy Lynn Bloom, a teacher at Carleton, said, Mr. Swank watered, spliced, repotted, added additional plants, weeded and planted to continue what has been started by the Ecology Club. Furthermore, she added, Mr. Swank was not asked to do any of this. He simply volunteers for the benefits of our students, our staff, and our community. For that, I truly appreciate him. Thank you, James, and congratulations. That concludes our Green Schools program recognition for the year. It's not the same as we've had in years past, and we hope to get back to that. Back to a large program that partners with our partners in the Macomb Intermediate School District. I know we'll get back to that next year. On behalf of the entire Board of Commissioners, I want to thank each school for their participation in the Green Schools program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Farrington, for going through that presentation. It's a lot of activity, a lot of staff work done on behalf of us to make sure that these schools can participate in this. And it's very encouraging to see so many students putting their minds and energies into these type of projects and endeavors. So anyone wish to be heard? I don't see anyone on the speakers list. Need a vote to receive and file. The motion's already been made. Please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next item is the item 10B, 2021 Volunteer Recognition Program. I need a motion to receive and file before I proceed.
Motion to receive by Nard.
Support
Wallace.
Motion's been made and supported. Today is our annual Volunteer of the Year celebration. And for those who have participated or witnessed the event in the past, you will see that what we're doing today is a little different. In a moment, we'll play a video honoring the volunteers being recognized this year. Each district is represented along with a senior Volunteer of the Year. I want to commend all those who are recognized today for their continued dedication to improving the lives of others in Macomb County. Our recognition of your services goes beyond this video too. Following today, staff will be working with each of the commissioners and their volunteers to coordinate a time for their parties to meet and for the recognition of gifts to be given to the volunteers. Again, we thank all of you for we're honoring here tonight, and we appreciate it. I've been doing this volunteer recognition for 30 years, and every year there's another group that comes out that I wasn't aware of before that is helping another person or group of people in the county. Our county is strong in that regard. We have such a vibrant network in this county that people helping each other. We take care of our own in this county and done so without financial reward behind it. It's just truly a blessing to hear all these various volunteers and the efforts they do. So without further ado, staff could play the video that they've produced for us that give us a flavor of some of these volunteer activities. Hello, I'm Don Brown, Chairman of the Macomb County Board of Commissioners, and today I'm excited to kick off our volunteer recognition program. The program has been a part of the board's history for the last 32 years, and each year we continue to honor new individuals who regularly work to make the lives of others in Macomb County better. Now, some would think that finding new people to honor every year would be a difficult thing after this long, but let me tell you, it isn't the case. Positive stories of residents helping others are abundant. In years past, we have celebrated dozens of volunteers at our annual celebrations. However, due to circumstances over the last year, we have limited volunteer opportunities, and our abilities to celebrate in person have been limited. So we took a different approach to the volunteer recognition program. For 2021, each commissioner was asked to identify one person in their district who tirelessly worked to benefit the county. I speak on for the board as a whole when I say that identifying a single individual wasn't easy. And throughout this video, you'll see members of the Macomb County community who have gone above and beyond. They are the heartbeat of this county. I want to thank each of our volunteers who have worked to support others over the last year. These certainly have been trying times, but the compassion and kindness we've seen arise out of this pandemic has been inspiring.
As a longtime resident of Warren, I, Commissioner Michelle Nard, have truly come to see and experience how important volunteers are to a community. They are passionate about their work and helping to improve the lives of others, which ultimately improves the lives of many. The 2021 Volunteer of the Year for District 1, which represents Warren, is the perfect example of a selfless and community-oriented volunteer. Ernest Martin spends his summers mowing lawns and cleaning yards for the elderly, and his winters ensuring their walkways are safe for travel. These tasks are a labor of love and ones he seeks no recognition for. Not only does Ernest help those in need, but his efforts also beautify the neighborhood he volunteers in. Although Ernest never seeks praise or recognition, it is actions and dedications like this that deserve to be highlighted. He is truly the unsung hero of South Warren, bringing smiles and inspiration to those he encounters and beyond. Thank you, Ernest, for continuing to support the community. Your efforts to help our elderly neighbors are why you are the District 1 2021 Volunteer of the Year. Thank you for your service.
Hi there, this is Commissioner Mysong, and I am so honored to nominate Warren resident Fred Huebner for the 2021 Volunteer of the Year. Fred is a foster parent and also a volunteer for the Macomb Foster Closet, and each year over 1,000 foster care children are provided with gifts, school supplies, diapers, and clothes. Fred also helps organize the clothing closet and food pantry in the Warren Woods Public School District for the students and families. At the start of the pandemic last year, Fred quickly organized a weekly food distribution drive-through in Warren. Since then, Fred, with the help of students and other volunteers, have distributed over 600,000 pounds of food to Macomb County residents. His extraordinary dedication to the community and hours of volunteer service deserve to be recognized, and that is why I am so proud to nominate Fred. Congratulations, Fred, and thank you for all that you do for our community.
I'm very proud to work within my local school district, especially during this time of the pandemic. It's been very difficult for all of us, and especially here in South Warren. So many people went into need. When the pandemic first started, we had so many folks that lost their jobs. Our drive-through food pantry had 500, 600, 700 cars lined up. On one particular day, we had over 1,100. We had to have multiple police officers out just to direct traffic. So for us to be able to come together and provide for all the needs of our local community during this pandemic, especially direct food and clothing here for all the kids within our district and also at the Macomb Foster Closet. I'm a proud foster parent, and I've adopted from foster care. And the foster kids are the most needy kids in our community. And it's been an honor to help them and our local community here with food and clothing.
Hi, I'm Macomb County Commissioner Veronica Kleinfeld representing District 3. Today, I would like to talk to you about my choice for Macomb County Volunteer of the Year. Cheryl Furtos. Cheryl joined the St. Clair Shores Memorial Day Parade Committee in 2010, and in 2013 she became chair. The St. Clair Shores Parade is a very large and complex one. And Cheryl, along with a very dedicated and capable team, do everything from fundraising to setting up the entrance, ensuring residents have transportation, to staging and implementation. As chair, Cheryl makes sure that the focus is always on our men and women in the military, honoring those that have lost their lives, and saying thank you to all veterans for everything that they have done to ensure our freedom and safety. Cheryl is also on the St. Clair Shores Housing Commission, and in that capacity, she works to ensure individuals have economic security while being given the opportunity to live in one of Michigan's biggest jewels, St. Clair Shores. Cheryl is also a businesswoman. She is a chef, a baker, and a candy maker. And through this pandemic, she has posted pictures of her culinary art, which has made us all want to go to Cheryl's house for dinner, but has also reminded us of what it was like to be able to go to our favorite restaurant and order our favorite meal at a time when we couldn't do that. Cheryl works to lift everybody up. Why does she do this? Why does she dedicate so much time? Because Cheryl Furtos loves St. Clair Shores, and she wants every resident in St. Clair Shores to have the same experience she does and appreciate St. Clair Shores the way that she does. And she wants everybody who doesn't live in St. Clair Shores to understand what a special place it is. St. Clair Shores is a jewel in Michigan, and Cheryl Furtos is a jewel in St. Clair Shores. So Cheryl, thank you for everything you do. And it has been an honor and a privilege to be able to say that to you today.
Hi, I'm Commissioner Joe Romano. My district is 4, and that's in Sterling Heights. Today, I'm honoring Volunteer of the Year, Willie D. Chavez. Mr. D. Chavez was an educator in the city of Detroit for a long time before he came to Sterling Heights. And once he did come to Sterling Heights, Mr. D. Chavez decided for retirement he was going to volunteer. And boy, did he volunteer. He started with the city's ethnic community, and he was with them a few years before he became chairperson, and then he remained as chairperson for a long time. Next thing that Willie wanted to do was he wanted to start a culture exchange, not only for his culture, which is the Filipino community, but for all cultures. So as a result of that, he started giving out diversity awards to different ethnic groups just to be recognized in the city of Sterling Heights. He is the one that instituted what we call the naturalization ceremony, which is done at the Sterling Fest, not only for a Filipino community, but for all people that want to become naturalized. He had the federal judge come here, and we had a great crowd for him. Willie started that. Willie also has a sister city in the Philippines, he associated with Sterling Heights, and we exchange cultures back and forth during the year. Willie was very instrumental in getting the Philippine community out to vote. He wanted to make sure not only did they vote, but he wanted to make sure that they were included in the census report. This again is all volunteer. Willie was considered the census ambassador for Sterling Heights in not only the Filipino community, but in most of the community throughout Sterling Heights. You know, every once in a while, these people, when we ask them, why do they volunteer? And they feel that this is something that they need to do. As we all know, it's a non-paid position. In Mr. D. Chavez's case, he doesn't want recognition, but I think he deserves it. And that's why I'd like to honor him as the Volunteer of the Year.
Hi, I'm Commissioner Don Van Sickle of Sterling Heights, and the 2021 Volunteer of the Year I want to recognize has localized the Kiwanis Club global mission of helping one child at a time. Those of you watching who know of the Sterling Heights Kiwanis Club certainly know Paul Riva. Paul has long been an avid supporter of the club and tirelessly works to execute its mission. Just this last year, Paul played an integral role in helping over 200 local families. He delivered food collected at Utica Community Schools and purchased other goods to ensure these families had items to enjoy the holiday season. Paul also plays an active role in securing scholarship funding to assist local students in their college endeavors. Such efforts take time, commitment, and a type of compassion geared toward improving the lives of others. These are all traits inherent to who Paul is. Paul, congratulations on being honored as a 2021 Macomb County Volunteer of the Year. It's people like you who make us all want to aspire to help others.
Hi, I'm Jeff Farrington, Macomb County Commissioner from District 6. Today's an exciting day. I want to introduce Elaine Colombo, our nominee for Volunteer of the Year. Elaine is the secretary for Motown Soup. They provide packaged soup, and through their efforts, they distributed $183,000 last year to 34 different charities. But she's not just a secretary. She's involved with the production and creation of the soup and the fulfillment of the orders. And pre-COVID was out selling them at various shows. See, but our tireless efforts don't even stop there, because Elaine is involved with the supper, lunch, and shower program that Trinity Lutheran Church in Utica provides for the homeless. You see, Elaine will never talk about what she does or bring light upon who she is and those around her. But through this, I want to recognize her. We all should recognize her for truly being a beacon in our community and helping out those that need assistance. Congratulations, Elaine, and thank you so very much for everything you do.
Volunteer of the Year for District 7 is a man we are honoring in memoriam. Ed Risch was a Romeo resident and founding member of Samaritan House. The Samaritan House's mission is for neighbors to help neighbors, and Ed was the definition of a good neighbor. He tirelessly worked to recognize individual needs of all those in our community and to ensure that they were met. The Sharing Tree program was one that was very close to his heart, as it ensured all children had presents at Christmas. As a father, grandfather, and overall family man, Ed took to serving as the co-chair of this committee very seriously. His spirit, loyalty, and compassion will continue to live on at Samaritan House and through the memories he left with others. He is remembered as a joy to be around, a lover of bear claws, someone who would bring Samaritan House staff chocolates every year on Valentine's Day. Every memory shared by Ed was one that brought a smile to at least another person. I'm lucky to have encountered Ed over the years, and I know that our community is a better place because of him.
The motto for Haven Place is Hearts Serving Hearts, and this nonprofit wouldn't be able to serve the New Haven community without the biggest hearts behind its mission. John and Tina Nagy started Haven Place in 2015 to provide a space for people to live out their dreams and passions through accessible opportunities. This organization has impacted thousands through its free classes, which include sewing and piano lessons, the local farmers and craft market held in the Haven Place parking lot, the regular tutoring sessions held for children and adults, and various recreational activities. The Nagys live a life based in faith, and the compassion that is true to their nature shines onto all they encounter. This is why I, Commissioner Phil Kraft, nominated them as the District 8 recipients of the Board of Commissioners 2021 Volunteer of the Year Award. I personally have witnessed the positive effect John and Tina have had on the New Haven community and beyond. Providing a place for both children and adults to learn, laugh, and grow is vital to a strong community. John and Tina, I cannot thank you enough for your tireless efforts, continuous dedication, and most importantly, your big hearts. You truly make an impact, and it has been an honor to witness your work firsthand.
Hi, everybody. I'm Commissioner Wallace, and I thought it was pretty fit for me to come up to Mount Clemens High School to recognize my volunteer. My volunteer is Dawn Sumter. She, just amazing. When I first met her, it was at the high school at a sporting event, and then I continued to see her at numerous events, school dances and things like that. And I just assumed that because she was at the school so much that she was, faculty or staff, and then just stayed after school to volunteer a little while and see some of the students that she saw on a daily basis. It wasn't until this year, maybe 5 years after I first seen her at an after school event, that I learned that she was strictly volunteering the entire time. She does not work for the school or the school district at all. She's just an amazing volunteer that loves the kids at Mount Clemens and is like a second mom to most of them. She started volunteering many, many years ago. Her son is a graduate, and he's actually about to graduate from Central Michigan, and yet she still is with the school volunteering. All the kids know her and love her. She has helped bring back the school yearbook. She has helped put together dances. She has helped put together fundraisers. I mean, it's nonstop. And it's not just the school. She does other charity events and volunteering outside of the school, on top of working and being a mom and just living life. So I don't know, what 24 hours she's working on, but it just seems like she's getting a lot more done than most. So I felt it just right to recognize her and all the awesome work she has done and all the love and just thoughtfulness that she has, put into the kids over the years. And even after they graduate, they still keep in contact with her. They still keep her updated about how their lives are going. And that is invaluable. I mean, that's just so valuable. There's no price you can put on that type of love and that type of person. So Dawn Sumter, this is just a little bit of recognition. You deserve so much more. And thank you. Thank you for what you do for our kids. Thank you for what you do for our community. We appreciate you.
Hello, this is Commissioner Barbara Zinner in District 10. I represent Harrison Township and most of St. Clair Shores. Today, I'm here to talk to you about the volunteer that I will be submitting to Macomb County for the volunteer for this year. Her name is Susan Keene, and she's from Harrison Township. She is a volunteer extraordinaire. She has a Master Gardener certificate that she has used for 25 years because she wanted to give back. Susan has 17 gardens in Harrison Township that she oversees, 12 of which she does everything for, and 5 gardens are done and taken care of by 5 other people. She also is the chair of the beautification committee, which she has been for many years. She also has promoted the sculpture program in Harrison Township. She's brought 5 wonderful and incredible and unique sculptures to Harrison Township. If you want, drive over and you'll see them. They are really quite something to see. She also has a home and garden tour where people will go to see the gardens in 8 people's homes. I'm sorry, the gardens outside 8 people's homes. And I did that one time, and it is a lovely, lovely experience. We toured and visited and saw the different unique things that people are doing with their gardens. It really was a lovely experience. Susan is part of the Michigan Beautification Council, the Michigan Beautiful. She speaks on gardening tips to groups. And I could go on and on and on forever, but honestly, nobody has the amount of time to listen to all the activities and all the work that Susan does. It just goes on the list. And she volunteers for all the activities that go on in the township and many activities. So I'm submitting again, Susan Keene from Harrison Township. She is a real treasure. We really like her. And if you are in Harrison Township, look her up. You probably know her. And if you're not, come over and find her and meet her, because she is truly a treasure. Thank you and have a great day.
A home and garden tour.
Volunteer of the Year Award to Dana Freers. Volunteering is part of Dana's DNA. Every single event I attend in Roseville and Fraser, I see Dana, her husband, and her children. Dana is a member of the Macomb County Community Health Board, Macomb County Bar Association, director of the Academy of Dreams, a board member for the Fraser Lions Club, Fraser First Booster Club, Fort Fraser Helpers Club, the Roseville and Fraser Goodfellows, the East Point and Roseville Chamber of Commerce, and last but not least, she's president of the Roseville Optimist Club, of which I'm charter president. So Dana, on behalf of the Macomb County Commissioners, I want to say thank you, and thank you for all that you do for Roseville, Fraser, and Macomb County.
Hi, my name is Julie Matuzik, and I'm the Macomb County Commissioner from Clinton Township, District 12. And I am very pleased today to be able to nominate Kiana Dorsey as my Volunteer of the Year. These sorts of recognitions can do one of two things. They can honor someone who's done a lot of work in an area, or they can encourage someone who's just starting out. And Kiana Dorsey is someone who's just starting out, and I want to give her all the encouragement I can give her. She is director of a group called Untapped Greatness, and their goal is to motivate, engage, and empower the people who live in the Quinn Road area in southern Clinton Township. She has done so much in sort of a short time. She's exactly the kind of person we want to encourage. She saw that she didn't like everything that was going on in her community. She recognized that her community is frequently forgotten by local government. And so she decided to jump in. She wasn't entirely sure what she was doing. She didn't really have any resources to pull it together, but she was committed to doing something and took personal action. So she has worked with a number of groups that are already working in the community. She's done some food giveaways and Coke giveaways, had a spectacular Halloween candy giveaway. There was so much candy, it was unbelievable. But what I really like is that Kiana is really focusing on the empowerment part of the community. And so lots of activities that bring residents in the community together. And that's really important. There has been a water balloon fun day at the park, outside movie nights. I mentioned the Halloween candy extravaganza, Christmas giveaways. We just did an Easter basket giveaway. So she's doing everything she can to empower people in the community, to engage them, to have them come together and to do great things in southern Clinton Township. So I'm very happy to endorse Kiana Dorsey as my Volunteer of the Year.
Hi, I'm Commissioner Joe Sabatini, and I represent Macomb Township, a community where if you play pickleball, the 2021 Volunteer of the Year for District 13 will come as no surprise. Kathy Western is the heart and soul of the Macomb Township pickleball community, a program that is self-run, well, almost. Without Kathy's organizational skills, outreach to players, and true love for the game, it's hard to believe the program would run as smoothly as it does. Aside from handling the logistics for the actual games, Kathy also handles all concerns and acts as the liaison between the group and the recreation department. Volunteering for our local pickleball community can certainly be time-consuming, but Kathy's volunteerism doesn't stop there. She is also a charter member of the Macomb County Board of Commissioners Older Adult Advisory Committee, or the OAAC, having served in it since 2018. Her organizational skills shine in this role too. She is always prepared for the meetings and provides beneficial input to the issues affecting older adults in her community. Through Kathy's volunteerism on the OAAC, she has also been able to bring additional art opportunities to Macomb Township. As a pilot participant for the DIA's Senior Outreach Program, she was able to communicate to others the transportation and private tour options the Art Museum now offers to the senior community. Kathy's continued altruistic involvement in her community is inspiring. I witness the good she does for Macomb Township regularly, and I am thankful to live in the community where she is involved. Kathy, congratulations on being named the District 13 2021 Volunteer of the Year. We can all learn something from your community and civic involvement. Thank you, Kathy, and congratulations.
In addition to the 13 individuals we are honoring for the 2021 Volunteer of the Year program, we are also honoring our Senior Volunteer of the Year. This individual received this nomination from the board's Older Adult Advisory Committee. In order to receive this honor, the nominee had to be over the age of 60, benefit Macomb County, and have selfishly donated their time and energy towards helping others. This year, Janet Dooland, a Fraser resident, is the recipient of the 2021 Senior Volunteer Award. Janet is a talented, active person whose efforts always help and benefit others. She volunteers her time to civic endeavors, the Fraser Public Library, Anton Art Center, and a host of other local organizations. She is also actively involved with Hope United Church of Christ, where she assists with events, supports the food pantry, and does 1,000 other tasks to ensure everything runs smoothly. Her hobbies are many, and she shares the fruit of her labor, more specifically, her homemade chocolates with homebound seniors. Janet's roots in Fraser run deep, and she is a true community-oriented person. But her interests and efforts also extend far beyond the borders of Fraser and Macomb County. She is an advocate and strong supporter of the G's Bend Quilters, a collective of women who have been quilting in their small African American community in Alabama since the early 20th century. The time and energy Jan gives to helping others is worthy of much, and honoring her with this award is the least we can do. Jan, congratulations on being our Senior Volunteer of the Year.
Outstanding bit of work, commissioners. Congratulations to all the volunteers. Many great, outstanding volunteers again. This year is no different than in the past. Always new individuals stepping up to serve our community in so many unique ways. So very good, and thank you all the commissioners for taking the time to do this video production. I see we've got talent there, some talented personalities. So you may have a job later on down the road to get out of this commission business. So there's been a motion made and supported to receive and file this report. Please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
Very good. Thank you. Item 11, ethics board rules and procedures. I need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Nard.
Support Farrington.
Very good. Is there any discussion on this item? Don't see anybody on the list.
I do believe, Mr. Chair, that you missed item 10C.
10C. Oh, yeah. How could I forget? Very good. Update on the COVID emergency at 19 with Vicky Wilbur.
Motion to approve.
There's support?
Support Wallace.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Matuzik, for that gentle reminder. Vicky, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you very much.
Vicky,
I will.
Vicky, before you get started, point of order, Mr. Chair. We already had a motion on the floor for the ethics board rules. Can we just approve that and then head on to Vicky's presentation?
If it's the will of the board, we can do that. I'll allow that without objection.
Thank you, Chair, as well as the item will be a receive and file and not a motion to approve when we get to it. Thank you.
It's a motion to adopt the ethics rules and procedures.
No, I was talking about the other one.
The other one I'm confused. I got you. Thank you for the clarification. So there's been a motion made and it's supported to adopt the ethics rules and procedures. Please vote.
Vicky, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
It's my bad.
She hadn't started yet.
Very good. That motion.
Yes, you're correct, Chair Brown. That motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Kraft, for expediting the meeting for us. All right. Vicky, the floor is yours.
Hello again. All good here. No issues. Thanks. All right. I will go ahead and get started. Have your report from March 13th through April 23rd. So a little bit longer than normal. We're in week 59 or 410 days of COVID. Some of the highlights from at least the emergency management department, a lot of their comments I'll include in the health report as well. But I did want to mention the SMART partnership, one of our excellent and most creative partnerships that we were able to do. We've had over 30,000 contacts through that program that have either utilized the transportation service for a vaccine or called or emailed the SMART hotline. So very happy with that program. And that program continues today, and we hope to that it will continue to stay with us and that people will utilize that program. Also, emergency management updated our county's COVID response plan. We had some changes to make based on new close contact guidance that came through the state health department. They changed the close contact quarantine period from 10 days and moved it back to 14 days. Essentially due to the variants that were present during our surge. And then we also had some routine changes due to the new employee exposure notification form. So we made those updates within that plan. Moving on to the finance report. You have your typical reports within the packet. You have the year end from 2020 and then this year's report through April 23rd, as well as the CARES Act report. Overall for 2021, we've now spent $9.9 million cash out the door with another $3.4 million encumbered. Overall in the past month since our last report, we spent approximately $2 million, and that's throughout all our different funding sources. Some of those were payroll, the personal protective equipment that you saw earlier in the month for gloves. There was also vaccine support. We had some payments to MedStar and Richmond Lennox EMS and others, some of our other partners. And we also had a reimbursement to Martha T. Berry for some expenses. When you look at the CARES Act report itself, the 152 million, we currently have approximately 17 million remaining within that fund. In the categories that remain are business relief, our testing and vaccination. The municipal relief fund has approximately 8.4 million left. We only have approximately those 6 communities left to reimburse. And a couple of those communities are large communities that have large amounts of money due to them. So hopefully we'll be able to get all those payments out to them within the coming weeks. We also have other amounts left within Martha T. Berry. The schools have some reimbursements and some money within the vulnerable populations. On this month's agenda, as you know, that you've already seen through committee for the majority of items, there was a new grant received through the health department for COVID immunization program. The one item that was added on recently that's coming up is the emergency rental assistance program. That's a large program that will be coming through, and I know Ernest is here to talk to you about that today. You also saw at committee the VASTEC scanning and indexing program for the health department. They had the wall tent purchases that were previously approved through bypass process of the board. And again, the PPE and gloves came to you this month. Moving on to the health department. Past month has been extremely busy. Obviously, we can tell that by what's happening within the community and the surge in cases. This past month, the health department's investigation and contact tracing was exceptionally busy. They had close to 27,500 different case reports that they took care of over the past month. In the previous month, when we reported back in March, they had done just 3,100. So obviously dramatic increase going from 3,100 to just over 27,000. They also identified another 41,000 close contacts relative to positive cases in the county. So again, a lot of work going on there. When those numbers get that high, as Andrew Cox has stated before, and even Bill Rodella, it becomes very difficult, if not somewhat impossible, to try to keep up with the contact tracing. Just even with additional staff, the manpower that it takes to keep up with that really takes a lot. And they do a great job with the staff that we have and try to stay up on those cases. Helpline, as you can imagine, was extremely busy as well. They had just over 12,000 calls within this time frame for residents to call for various questions and needs. Our drive-through testing site is still in operation. Again, when you see the surge in cases, generally you start to see people come out to be tested more as well. So those numbers were high. The site tested just under 4,000 people during this time frame. And that was a increase of almost 1,500 from the previous month coming in. If you look at the total tests that we did in April, now this is as an entire county, not just the health department. So our partner testing sites, we did 100,620. That is with 21,563 positive cases. And that's within the month of April. That's our second highest month for positive cases within the county. Just November was our highest previous month before that. As of today, we're just above a 21% positivity rate. But within this time frame, we actually got up to almost 26%, depending on what day you looked at, if you did a day-by-day percentage. So extremely high from where we had been previous to that. When you look at February or March, just ourselves as a health department, we were averaging maybe 100 tests a day at our site. During the surge, we got back up into 700 or 800 people coming through the test site. And now we're starting to see that decline, and we're averaging right around 300 or a little less of people coming to the site. And again, that follows too with our cases that are obviously decreasing as well. So again, very busy month, but it's good news that we're starting to see those numbers decline. If you start to take a look and switch to our mass vaccination for the last period, last month, or with in this period, we did just almost 152,000 vaccines within that time period. Again, in the March report, we did 77,000. So we almost doubled within that short period of time of getting those vaccinations out, and a lot of effort. I know it was mentioned on previously at the meeting, a lot of the expansion that we've done during that time frame. The new sites that we opened our Southwest Health Center, or Majestic site in Warren, open since we last met. We have new sites in Chesterfield, the Lakeside Mall drive-through clinic, and then we also had the Warren drive-through clinic as well at their parking garage. We partnered with FEMA and the state for community pop-up sites, so we have ran a number of those. That was your Access site, the Chaldean Community Center, All God's People, Greater Morning Star Church. So really trying to get out in those communities and get those vaccinations out there to the public. We also conducted some of our own events with Macomb Community College, trying to get to the younger population and the college students, as well as staff. So we did an event out there. We did an event with the homeless coalition and McRest in the county. We have another event with them planned coming up in the next week. We also continued with our congregate care program during that time frame, and the homebound residents as well. So a lot of work going on. Obviously, with the J&J temporary hold, we had to stop the congregate care and homebound, because again, you cannot use the other two vaccines for that program just because of their transportation stability issues. So that program was put on hold, but I'm happy to report we actually started that back up this week. So those programs will continue once again, finishing up on the congregate care, and then homebound individuals as well within the county. So that's going along well. And we do have a number of other models that we're looking at. Many of the commissioners have forwarded us contacts for various sites within your communities. We are working to get those set up. Again, it just becomes a timing issue, a manpower issue, especially at some of these sites in the community. If we're not using the Johnson & Johnson, obviously that takes a first dose time frame and scheduling, as well as then the second dose. And then we have to provide for staff as well. So we are taking those contacts. We are making the phone calls and following up. So hopefully you'll start to see a few more community sites pop up. We are also very conscious of the decrease in people getting the vaccination. So we're being creative and looking at some other ways to deploy the vaccine as well, that hopefully we'll be able to announce in the coming weeks. But essentially, appointments are available every day. So anyone can really go online. You see an appointment, you can go on in the morning, you can almost get an appointment within that hour if you so choose. So we're still encouraging people to use that methodology. It's actually preferred by many people. It's preferred by us right now, but we are looking also at potentially maybe offering walk-up service to later on as that makes sense to us as we move forward. Looking at our IT department, they're one of the ones, again, that had the largest number of CARES projects. So they have 61 They actually have 58 of those wrapped up. So that is wonderful news to see those coming to an end. The last few seem to be just have some simple items that they're waiting to finish up. And one of those is our software-defined networking project, which was probably one of the largest projects that we took on through IT, not only from a cost perspective, but also from our entire infrastructure, and making sure that we're set up well into the future. So that project is almost complete. As usual, our JIC Center and our media people were very busy with public information. They did a great job. We issued 5 different newsletters during this time frame. We had continue to add people on every week. We're up to now just over 45,000 people that subscribe to that newsletter, and we continue to have a high rate of openings of 35% or more on a given week. So we're very proud of that information going out, and that people are still searching us to be a reliable source of information within the county. Planning and economic development, a lot going on there, but still just want to highlight that we have the kits available for the businesses. So that's still an ongoing and successful program. So we do get opportunities where we try to continue to promote that. So if you know any businesses that would still like a kit, those are available. A lot of the work that planning's doing right now is preparing for our new rounds of grant funding that are coming through the American Rescue Plan. So they're doing a lot of work, a lot of outreach to businesses, have surveys out there to see what the needs of the business community are. They also have worked extremely closely too with the emergency rental assistance program that you'll hear about later, in their outreach to landlords to see their interest in the program and working with us to get that out and get that much needed funding. I'm going to jump to just the healthcare hospital, long-term care related. We are starting to see a decrease within our hospital systems, which is nice as well. So again, those trends are continuing in all areas with COVID. We still have partnerships and ongoing conversations with the hospitals and those entities. The long-term care entities are still coming to us for their personal protective equipment needs. So we can continue to serve them in that fashion as well. And then looking at the current and long-term initiatives, just to highlight the ones again, kind of tied to our pending grants, the American Rescue Plan. We're looking at setting up a meeting here shortly with the municipalities in the county just to gauge where everyone else is at with their project plans and ideas. We are waiting for more information to come out from the federal government. They still have not produced any significant guidance. So it's still really broad-based, but hopefully that should be out, we're told, within the next couple weeks. And then that'll help us with some of our planning efforts within the community. Housing rental assistance is starting to come through. Obviously, we'll see that today. And then vaccination money too from the state that came through and is part of the agenda packet today. The other highlight really was the vaccination site planning, and I already kind of touched on that during the health department report and kind of what we're looking at going forward and different ideas, and really trying to get education into the communities and ease people's fears or whatever it may be, if for those that are still contemplating getting a vaccine. And with that concludes my remarks on the report, and I'd be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Commissioner Matuzek.
Thank you, Vicki. Great report as usual. A couple of comments and a couple of questions. I'm really glad to hear that the testing is keeping pace with the outbreak, because I went and got a test this week, and I was the only car in sight. I was the only one driving through. I mean, I'm negative. I had a persistent sore throat, and even though I'm vaccinated, fully vaccinated, I'm a responsible human being. So I went and got a test. but I was the only person in the vicinity. So I was a little concerned that maybe our testing has dropped off the cliff. So that makes me happy. I did contact you about figuring out how we can set up vaccination sites in the subsidized housing complexes. We're sort of at the point, I think, where the folks who really wanted shots have gotten shots, and now we have to make it really easy for other people to get shots. So I appreciate that you're following up on that. I had one question on your reports. On the sheet that's headed County Cares Direct Recipient Spending Plan categories, you have K-12 education programs listed. I'm wondering what we're spending money on there, or what we're giving to the schools that are, what they're spending the money on.
Sure. That was our program through the ISD and all the school districts. And a majority of their funding went towards technology needs.
Okay.
So a lot of the districts had to switch to the remote learning. And that was basically a biggest chunk of the money was for that.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's a fairly large piece of money, and so I was wondering what they're spending it on.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Vicky, on that point with the ISD, do we block grant them under the ISD, and then they, in terms of, made the decisions to give it to the local school districts based on applications that they submitted to them? How did that approval process work through the ISD to the schools?
It basically worked through the superintendents have been meeting themselves and with the county and the health department basically on a weekly basis, sometimes more. But that was one of the areas that we worked on together with them. And through their meetings, they came up to an agreement on how that money would be divided up between the various school districts. So it was done through a group, if you will, and the MISD agreed to be the lead, and payments are going actually to the ISD. So we had agreement with the ISD, which helped us. We didn't have to make all the payments out, and then they reimbursed the school districts. So that was done through their own superintendent's body and agreed by them. And yes, they knew what each other's projects were. We went through, if you remember with the municipal program, we actually gave them, the guidance sheet on what was eligible, what was not eligible. So that's where we came into play as well on the different areas that they could kind of choose from for that.
Well, it's good to hear that we were engaged in that process throughout.
Yes, definitely. Even all the way from our office, health emergency management, and Steve Schmiegel and his office were all part of those conversations.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. Next is Commissioner Zinner.
Hi, Vicki. I think you said you had tested 120,000 people this month.
Correct. That's throughout the whole entire county, not just through our Baker testing site, but through all the other entities that have testing sites as well. But yes.
Now that would not include, or does that include when schools are testing kids in sports every day? That probably wouldn't be in that, would it?
My assumption would be yes, but I think Andrew Cox would best be able to answer that. He's on the call.
Yeah, that's not necessarily a priority. My question to you, if you can answer this, of the 120,000, which are probably at the testing sites, do you have a percentage of the people that you tested, that were tested, did they have symptoms, or did they say that they were having symptoms? Like how many people had symptoms, or did they say they were having symptoms?
I don't believe any of that's tracked, but I'll let Andrew answer that for sure.
Hi, Commissioner. Yeah, that is correct. We offer testing for symptomatic and asymptomatic individuals.
Yes.
That is not necessarily tracked on the form. Yeah, so we do record. We have positivity rates that are very closely to community positivity rates, but in terms of what percentage is symptomatic and asymptomatic, I can't tell you that, Commissioner.
So of that 120,000, how many were positive?
It was just over 21,000, basically 21,500.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. Again, Vicki, thank you for everything, all the hours that you're putting in and the hard work. Just a couple of things. I'm glad we're starting to head the other direction. I've been seeing a lot of Facebook posts about with large gatherings of people not wearing masks, like nobody wearing masks. And I had a resident send me a photo that came off of one of our sites of one of us with a large group of people without masks. And that was a little bit embarrassing to me because I didn't know what to say. I know that people think that's a freedom issue and it doesn't affect other people, but I think I've got 2 hospital workers living across the street and they beg to differ. Their life has been, things got a little bit hectic in the last month again, and I think they're under a lot of stress. So good news that we're going to start heading the other direction the more people get vaccinated. So I'm very happy about that. One quick thing with the ARP money that will be coming, the new package, MAC and NACO are urging go slow. We've got 3 years on that money, and they're going to speak to this next week. But one of the concerns is with everybody working from home, that the dark stores issue that we have faced with the big box stores, and for those of you that don't know, that Mac will speak to this next week and explain this whole thing to you, that there's a concern that there's going to be a dark store situation with office spaces. And if that does indeed occur, then we will see a downturn in revenue that we weren't expecting, even if the values of properties continue to rise, unless that gets addressed in some other way. So just wanted to put that on your radar. That's what they're saying is, you know, we need to find out what's going on with those office spaces and if they're going to try to do the dark store thing with regard to how they pay their taxes. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Wallace.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Andrew and Vicki, for everything that you guys have done and responding so quickly to me and my questions. I did receive a call from someone that was vaccinated at Greater Morning Star. They're supposed to go back on the 8th, but they will not be able to go on the 8th. So they said they went online to just try to make an appointment, but those are for first time, the first dose. So what should I tell them to do? To call or?
Yeah, they can call the health department helpline.
Okay.
And that's the 463-3750 number. And they'll be able to help them with a second dose appointment.
All righty. That sounds great. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else? Vicki, thank you for an excellent report, detailed report as always, and the whole team. And Andrew, thanks for being here to answer our questions. And so we appreciate that. There's been a motion made and supported. Please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
Very good. Thank you. Item 12A, Health and Human Services Committee recommendations. Item 12A was waived by the committee chair budget amendment for Macomb Community Action Children and Family Services Division for COVID Emergency Rental Assistance Program. So $26 million. Ernest is here to speak on it. Can I have a motion to approve first?
Matuzik moves.
Zinner second.
Very good. Ernest, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Commissioners. I'm pleased to announce that we are ready to implement the Coronavirus Emergency Rental Assistance Program, something I'm sure you've heard a lot about. It's nationwide and statewide. And items A through D all relate to this agreement. B, C, and D are all part of the MSHDA funding. And item A is related to the Treasury funding directly to the county. Just a little bit about this. I know we provided backup documentation, and I'm happy to answer your questions. But the most important thing for you to know is that Macomb Community Action has been working tirelessly through the pandemic to help our vulnerable residents in need. However, oftentimes our existing funding sources from both federal and state government are restricted to 200% of the federal poverty guidelines. Those are often the parameters that we serve residents with. This new funding uses what they call the area median income. And the area median income is based on the area income. And the median level is higher than 200% of the federal poverty line. For instance, for the last year, we've been helping people with eviction diversion and rental assistance through the 200% of the federal poverty guideline cap. That's about $52,000 for a family of four. Through the 80% of the area median income threshold, we can go up to $62,800 for a family of four. There are a lot of fallouts happening from COVID. One of them is that one family member is becoming unemployed, or one family member is having their hours reduced. And so we have seen a lot of people this last year that are above that cap of 200% of the federal poverty guidelines. So this not only is additional funding for us to continue to respond to the urgent crisis of the pandemic, it also allows us to reach people who in 2020 were ineligible due to those lower thresholds for income guidelines. And that's the biggest thing that you should know about this is we're not just going to keep helping residents as we've been doing for the past year. We're going to be able to help residents with a higher income that are still facing crisis through this pandemic. And we're really pleased to do that. The other thing, as Vicki mentioned, this involves a lot of landlord outreach. Historically, there are some landlords and property management companies that have chosen not to participate and receive government funding for past due rent. Part of this is due to the structures and restrictions and eligibilities related to landlords and property management companies receiving payments for rental arrearages or past due rent. So we want to make sure that not only the hundreds of landlords that we work with every year are involved in the SARA program, but also that we're reaching out to new landlords and property management companies that previously have declined participation in rental assistance programs. We've worked through the macro group and all Macomb County townships to get more lists of landlords and property management companies. A big component of the SARA program is the ability for landlords to submit on behalf of their tenants bulk applications so that a landlord could say, I have 78 people who have past due rent. Let me submit my documents as a landlord, noting all of those 78 people who have past due rent. When I do that, it prompts those tenants to submit their portion of the application. It's really a better way to ensure that all tenants with past due rent who may be income qualified are covered under this program. Otherwise, you may only have half of the tenants apply on their own. And that tenant application will prompt the landlord to complete their portion. So we really believe that an essential component of our success in Macomb County is strong engagement from all of our landlords and property management companies. We will be hosting our first webinar on that tomorrow. And we have released a new page for the Coronavirus Emergency Rental Assistance Program. You can find that at macombgov.org/CERA. The other important part you should know about this is we are utilizing the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, MSHDA's online SARA portal. So our materials at macombgov.org/SARA will link to the portal application that MSHDA has structured to meet the requirements for this application. We believe that's a streamlined way to help make sure that Macomb County residents have the easiest and most straightforward user experience to apply during the middle of this crisis. The last thing I want to remark about this grant and funding and the program structure is the timeline. Originally, you may have seen announcements by the Department of Treasury that this program ended in 21. Since then, they have extended the deadline through 22. And in addition, they have made announcements that in 2022, additional funding will come forth through a notice of funding availability for regions that have been spending their portion of the initial SARA funding. So we not only have updates that this can be spent through 22, we have updates that we will receive more funding in 22 that will be able to be spent toward 23, with additional guidelines talking about through 2025 and 2027. This is really a monumental commitment at the federal and state level to make sure that we have multi-year funding to respond to the fallout of the pandemic. There's a lot more to say on this, but let me stop here and take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ernest. Excellent job again of being on top of the information and the programs, the many programs that you're a conduit for us on. And I really appreciate the time and skill it takes to do all that. It's a lot going on.
Thanks.
Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. Also, I also wanted to thank you, as we have everyone else, for the extra work that you're having to go through during this pandemic. It's a lot of plates to juggle. Appreciate it. This is just for commissioners. There was a question posed to me about bypass by chair. If there isn't going to be a committee meeting before the full board and it's a time sensitive issue, we may do a bypass. And there is also, or that we will do a waive by chair, but there's also a bypass procedure where if it's time sensitive and we're not going to have meetings, the chair of a committee, I believe the chair of the board and the chair of finance can sign off for the board on time sensitive issues, like if we're going to lose a grant because of the timing. That's a procedure we've put in place. So I just wanted to explain that to the new commissioners. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Veronica. Let's see. Commissioner Matuzik.
Thank you for bringing this up again and staying on top of it. I'm really pleased to hear that the funding is now extending behind for a few more years, so we don't have to make critical decisions tomorrow about what we're going to do with all this money, which then gives us an opportunity to really think how we can best use this, what really is once in a generation infusion of money, to think about how we can creatively look at programs both to keep people in houses, which is sort of what we're doing now with the rental assistance, but also to really tackle homelessness in a way that's more impactful than simply providing emergency shelter. And I think there are lots of opportunities to think about that, to look at that. I know that we've been doing some road cleanups lately, and I got to tell you, there are lots of people living by the river in Clinton Township and Mount Clemens, and it's quite sad to see. And we really need to come up with some programs that deal with people's physical and mental health, that deal with substance abuse, that sort of figures out how we can help these folks get off the riverbank, if you will, and into more permanent housing. So I'm really hoping that we can set up a process where we can bring together some stakeholders to try to think this through in a way that makes some sense for the county and really puts us in the forefront of dealing with homelessness in a comprehensive way. So it's all good news as far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Matuzik. Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ernest and I have been talking lately the last week or so, so I am extremely hopeful that this helps the constituent that we've been trying to help. She's stuck in some sort of limbo, and a lot of it is based on funding. So I'm really hopeful that this helps her and many other folks in Macomb County. But my question for you, Ernest, is I believe you said that the landlord and the tenant have to sign off on this agreement. What if the tenant signs off on it and the landlord just doesn't for some reason? Is there some sort of mechanism that forces the landlord to sign off on this so that funding can be released?
Yes, thanks for the question, Commissioner. It's an important point, and there are those safeguards built into this contract. Usually it would not be the case that a landlord would refuse to sign off on one tenant's application. It'd be the case that a landlord categorically refuses to participate in the program. That's why it's so important that we conduct this outreach. However, the provisions remain in place in this contract that if a landlord declines to participate, we have to demonstrate that we have given that landlord due notice, made multiple attempts to contact them, and given them a waiting period to make sure that they had every opportunity to enroll. If they still choose not to enroll, we are allowed to award the back due rent directly to the individual. However, there are a lot of reasons why it's best to work through the landlord to ensure that the rent is paid.
Thank you, Ernest. One quick question. How long does that process take? Because again, these are folks that are being faced with homelessness and time is of the essence. What's that time frame like?
You know, we're working with partners to make sure that we can make it as expedient as possible. We are working with Lakeshore Legal Aid to make sure we have representation in the courts. We are also reaching out to the courts and informing the courts about this process, and hope that through that partnership with the courts, that before they proceed to any legal action due to past due rent, that we will be able to refer them to participate in this program as a remedy and mediation. In addition, it's also of note that this is also applicable back to the pandemic, the start of the pandemic. So this will continue to cover rental arrearages that may have been pre-existing. And also you'll note when you go to the macombgov.org/SARA webpage, we not only have the 80% AMI income limits, we also have called out the 50% AMI income threshold, because again, there is a stipulation that we try to prioritize the most vulnerable. And one of the ways we do that is by having a goal for 65% of these funds to be spent on those very low income households that are 50% AMI or below. So to Commissioner Matuzak's point as well, we will be prioritizing those most in need, and we will be working to make sure that we have the broadest participation of landlords, but we will be able to get tenants that are eligible that money one way or the other.
Thank you, Ernest. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Kraft. Commissioner Zong.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Ernest. It was nice to finally meet you last Wednesday. Thank you for taking the time to give me a tour of the warehouse, and for all the work that you guys have been doing throughout the pandemic. You've been working so hard. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to combine items A and D through D so that we could just vote on it all at once.
I'll accept that. Is there support?
Support Wallace.
We actually had a motion on the floor previously, but we'll consider this a friendly amendment.
Absolutely.
All right, very good. Thank you. Do you have any comments?
Mr. Chair,
yes.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I just have a follow-up question, if I may.
Oh, please, absolutely. We're still take questions. Sure, so please go ahead.
Okay.
Commissioner Song, did you have any questions for me?
No.
Commissioner Matuzak. Commissioner Song, did you have any more questions? Okay, she had none. Okay. All right, go ahead, Commissioner Matuzak.
Ernest, how are people who live in mobile homes impacted by all of this? They always end up in this strange place where they rent the lot, but they own the home. Sometimes they're considered homeowners, sometimes they're considered renters. How are they impacted by all of this?
That's a great question. I really appreciate your focus on the vulnerable populations in Macomb. It is up to the determination of their lease and their arrangements. If they're renting the lot, that could be considered eligible. If they own their home, that of course is not rental payments. So I think there could be a variety of eligibilities that could provide funding to them. For those renters in the mobile home communities, they would of course be eligible.
Thank you.
Ernest, do we have any idea how many people we're talking about in Macomb County? How many, not maybe people, how many residences are we talking about potentially?
Well,
will you be tracking it going forward?
Yes, absolutely. One of the reasons why we're using the MISHDA portal is it has been configured to meet the reporting and monitoring requirements through the Department of Treasury and the state of Michigan. This can cover up to 12 months of rent for an individual. There are fair market value considerations for the rental amount payments that will be made. So if you consider the maximum amount for individuals being a year and at the maximum rental assistance, this could serve up to 1,000 people a week. The numbers could get that high as far as capacity. There may be some surges, but it is our expectation not only that we will help address all of the rental arrearages in Macomb County for income eligible residents, but also, as Commissioner Matuzak said, there are provisions in this to allow us to be flexible and creative with our strategy to address vulnerable populations such as homeless residents. So it may come that we reach a point where we believe we have addressed the majority of back due arrearages for rent by low-income individuals, and we can also have a parallel strategy to help invest into rehousing homeless individuals. So it may be a variety of ways that we expend this, and that may also change the number of residents. If most residents only need 6 months of back rent, we can also give them 3 months of prospective rent. And so depending on the fair market values and the number of months in arrearages, it could really vary from $1,000 a month to $3,000 a month. And we are preparing to make sure we have the capacity to respond and that we have the efficiencies in place to do that quickly.
This isn't considered, there are mortgage programs, forbearance programs for people stuck in the same circumstances given the COVID's epidemic, loss of hours and so forth. Their mortgages are put on a forbearance plan. They still owe the money, but they've been given a grace period in which to pay it. Is this a forbearance program, or is this probably doesn't sound like it is?
No, this will both pay off the arrearages. It also can pay off utilities. It can also, in some circumstances, pay for internet as an essential basic need and utility. So depending on each individual tenant, there are a variety of costs that can be covered.
When they look at the tenant's income, do they include unemployment that they receive as far as
in general, there are some categorical eligibilities, such as being enrolled in public benefits or being on unemployment. So unemployment itself is actually a categorical eligibility for need during the coronavirus pandemic. We do take the whole household's income. So we do require every member in the household who is earning income to be listed on the income statement for eligibility assessment. But unemployment income may count, but unemployment insurance enrollment counts as an automatic categorical eligibility for that applicant.
Are they required to show pay stubs and that type of thing? Or
yes, absolutely. You know, just as with all of our programs at Macomb Community Action, we have stringent guidelines, rules, and regulations we have to follow to document and make sure we're accountable to the public on the use of this taxpayer funds. So if you go to macombgov.org/Sarah, you'll see all of the types of eligibility documents that are required, and we are keeping fastidious records on those.
Very good. Thank you, Ernest. Thanks for answering my questions. Commissioner Nard.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner Brown asked some of the questions that I wanted to ask. It's just my concern is, you know, there's a lot of money being thrown around, you know, and I understand homelessness and I understand, you know, rent eligibility. I understand all of that. But my concern is if someone is getting, you know, say back unemployment, say they've got a $10,000 check for back unemployment, you know, but they're asking you for 12 months of their rent. I mean, wouldn't they be would they be responsible? What are their duty as far as to make sure that they pay their own rent, and then we help them with what they can't help themselves with? You know, I don't want to sound harsh because, you know, I know a lot of people that are homeless, that have been homeless. I've been homeless before, so I understand the, you know, the heartbreak and the hurt of something like that through circumstances that wasn't of my own. But I'm just concerned because a lot of money is being thrown around. What procedure do we have in place to ensure that we're helping people that are going to be able to sustain themselves once we've given them this amount of money?
Thank you for the question, Commissioner. I think it's a really important one. Obviously, we want to make sure that we leverage our dollars in the best way possible for the maximum amount of support for vulnerable Macomb residents. Part of the structure of this grant are the guidelines that are determined by the Department of Treasury and the Michigan State Housing Development Authority. And in those grant guidelines, it does state that, for instance, that individual that you mentioned who got unemployment, who might have got a lump sum, and you had, you know, in your words, you believe that since they got the lump sum, maybe they should use some of that lump sum to back pay their arrearages and not take money that could go to somebody else. That is not an option that we can enforce in this grant. This grant simply looks at the income and looks at the past due arrearages and then makes a payment toward that.
Okay, so I just want to understand. So they wouldn't look at that. They would just go by the fact that the person says, "Well, I need my rent paid." Even they could have gotten money from somewhere else from unemployment, but that's not going to be counted to them being helped?
They will count every income source in the household, whether it's Social Security income and disability, whether it's unemployment, whether it's part-time work. They will consider the full income into that household for the eligibility assistance. And if they're still below the threshold, they will qualify, and we will help them in every way possible to make those payments. I do understand your concern, and I know often there are many concerns we have about potential abuses of the system. And I can assure you that we're just as diligent and concerned about making sure that this goes to the residents that have the greatest need.
Thank you. That's my concern. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Ernest. A couple of times in your talk, you mentioned that some landlords don't want to participate. That's sort of a flag to me that there must be some rules and things that the landlords have to agree to participate. Is that true?
It's not true for this grant funding. And that's one of the reasons we're conducting such broad landlord outreach. There's a perception based on historical funding for rental arrearages that there are restrictions. That is not true with this program. We want to make sure every landlord knows that. Previously, in prior years, there are rental assistance programs that, for instance, prevent eviction or prevent termination of the lease or make the landlord waive penalties or fines to accept the rental arrearages. Or there are some programs that oftentimes only offer the landlord 80% of the rental arrearage. So there's a historic perception based upon previous rental assistance programs from some property management companies that it is not in their best interest to participate, but those restrictions are not in this program. And so really we're trying to get the word out there that if large property management companies or landlords have not participated with rental assistance in the past because of their perception of those obligations, that is not the same with this program. There are no strings attached. We're just asking them to take the full amount of their rent arrearage and apply it toward the rent.
Thank you for explaining that. Where I was going to is I was going to see if we could, if there were restrictions, if we could work around them, eliminate them, lessen them, do something to help this succeed. But from what you're saying, it's mostly just perception.
That's exactly right. Historically, just as Commissioner Nard was stating, there are concerns and safeguards that we have put in place to make sure that this money doesn't unduly benefit the landlord, but disadvantage the tenant. And so really, with this Department of Treasury funding, we need to make sure we change the perception that this is not like the previous rental assistance programs. The Department of Treasury really did us a favor by making sure that there were not those restrictions incumbent upon the landlord, so there aren't those barriers to participation that may have previously been perceived.
Well, I'm all in favor of helping those in need and absolutely preventing the scammers from getting anything, because that keeps people who are actually in need from being helped, which we need to do. Anyway, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Van Sickle. We have Commissioner Wallace.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ernest, for being here, answering all of our questions. You're doing a great job, and I will be coming to do my tour soon. So as a landlord, I have multiple tenants that have been struggling since the beginning of this. So to see more help coming is just awesome. I know other landlords have kind of been using this to, once the lease expires, with everything going on and not being paid, they have been using this opportunity to not renew leases and evict the tenant. That way they can get out of it. I mean, the market is crazy. Houses sell in like 12 hours. So that's another reason why some landlords may not be interested, even though they've lost a lot of money. They would rather not continue to deal with a possible headache. But I think that this is awesome. I would love to group my people because it has been very strenuous on the landlords as well, because this is a huge income that for a year, many of us have not been receiving. but I just wanted to mention that, and most of my tenants have not only struggled with rent, but with everything, including keeping their kids fed and keeping clothes on their back as they grow. So, I know if they're getting unemployment, it's going towards their kids first. And, so I definitely appreciate that. When I saw this, I was just ecstatic for those that are continuously struggling through this pandemic. So I just wanted to say that, and thank you for your time. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Wallace. Commissioner Zinner.
Hi, Ernest. I may have missed this. Do you have an expectation of how many homeless you'll be dealing with?
No, we do not. As you may know, there are multiple funding streams that are currently in place for homeless diversion and rapid rehousing. So we're not sure at this point what the need will be and what the opportunity will be to leverage these funds in a non-duplicative fashion toward other funding.
Because I'm sure I know they're all over the county. I mean, they're not just in one place. They may be staying in some people's houses now, but as it gets warmer, they'll be coming back from wherever, whatever, I'm sure. Thank you very much. Thank you for all you do.
Absolutely. Just so you know, we do work with the Continuum of Care and the Homeless Coalition to make sure that we are apprised of all the many efforts around the county and where we can chip in. And just for Commissioner Wallace, we will be setting up a separate landlord page at macombgov.org that really speaks to the landlords and links them to the portal as well. So we'd be appreciative if you could help promote that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Commissioner Nard.
Yes, thank you, Chair Brown. Ernest, I just wanted to ask one more question. Does this program help with people that are on land contracts?
I am not sure. I can check into that.
Okay, and you can email me or something and let me know.
To the extent that it's part of a purchase, I do not believe so.
Okay.
If it's a rental, it's a rental. If they're renting to own, I'm not sure if that is considered eligible.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Okay, I don't see any other questions for Ernest. Got a motion to approve A through D. Please vote.
That motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item 12E is Macomb Community Action Plan 2021 Annual Action Plan. There are several items here. Item E through K are all part of one package. We'll have Ernest speak to this, but if we get a motion to approve E through K, I think that would facilitate the process. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve E through K.
Very good. Ernest, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm happy to present on this. Just to note that item E, F, and G were reviewed by the Health and Human Services Committee. So I'm appreciative if the commissioners have any remaining questions. I'm glad to answer them. The annual action plan, as you may know through the backup materials, is related to our funding through the CDBG. That involves a variety of programs you can see, I believe, on page 181 of your 575-page packet for today. We detail the many different programs we do through that throughout the county. And this annual action plan is part of the Housing and Urban Development mandate. We have to, through HUD, update our annual action plan for CDBG funds. So this is meeting that statutory requirement.
That's right. This was reviewed previously in committee. This wasn't an item that was waived. This is basically the second reading of it. So I don't have any speakers on that. Can we have a vote, please?
That motion passes 13-0.
All right, thank you. Item H, budget amendment for Health Department grant fund immunizations. This also was approved in committee. Can I have a motion on this to approve?
Motion to approve by Nard.
Is there
Support.
support? Any discussion on this item? I don't see any on the list. Please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
All right. Item I, item already approved by bypass contract with wall tents. It's a Verculen site. Actually, the next three items are all previously, these are all related to the wall contract with wall tents. Item K, J and K.
Commissioner.
Motion to approve item I, J, and K as bypassed items, Commissioner Romano.
Yeah,
Support.
Okay.
Chair, these are receive and file, aren't they?
Yes, they are. So we need a motion to receive and file those. Those are Commissioner receive and file, correct, Commissioner Romano?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any discussion on this? I don't see any, please vote.
That motion passes through.
Thank you. Item 13, Government Oversight Committee recommendations. These items were approved in committee previously in the government oversight. I need a motion to approve 13A settlement agreement, U.S. District Court case 2-20-CV-1111-11154.
Motion to approve based on recommendation of Corp Counsel.
Support Farrington.
Any discussion on this item? I don't see any. Please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 14, Records and Public Safety Committee recommendations. Need motions to approve A and B. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve by Nard.
Support Van Sickle.
Is there any discussion on this item? I don't see any. Please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
All right, thank you. Item 15, Internal Service Committee recommendations. Like a motion to approve item A through D.
So moved by Romano.
Support
Van Sickle.
Any discussion on this item? I don't see any. Please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 16, Public Service Committee recommendations. Need a motion to approve items B through J. Well, let's do it first of all, do 16A. Let's do the item waive to the committee. We haven't had this one. Contract with MDOT for the reconstruction of Mound Road from I-696 to M59.
Motion made by Farrington.
Is there support?
Support by Nard.
Is there any discussion on this item by anybody? John Crum, are you here? Anyone from the Department of Roads? We have the backup material, but all right. Does anybody have any questions on this? Commissioner Matuzik.
Sorry, I have a cat sitting in my face wondering why dinner is late. Makes it hard to navigate.
Yeah.
I'm just curious about why this one didn't come through committee with all the rest of the recommendations that were there. We've done a couple of these on Mound Road, and so I'm wondering why this one is sort of off to the side.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Please, Mr. Farrington. Commissioner
It
Farrington.
was in the committee. It came after the committee was already done. There's a timing issue on it.
Okay. It doesn't do more or less than what we have previously looked at or discussed. I mean, I read through the materials. It's sort of hard to say.
It's rather lengthy. I didn't find anything else.
Okay. I'm trusting you.
MDOT is getting ready. They've got a date on May 16th to award the general contractor of this entire project to this. And there's a lot of economic development going to happen as a result of this big project coming along. So we've got a motion made and supported to approve item 16A. Can we please have a vote?
That motion passes 13-0.
Did we lose our chairman?
Here I am, a technical issue. Too many clicks of the buttons here. So anyway, that motion passes. Item 16, would like a motion to approve item 16B through J for public.
Motion made by Farrington.
Support by the chairman. Is there support?
Support by Nard.
Support by Commissioner Nard. Is there any discussion on any of these items? Please vote.
That motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you.
Sabatini votes
Item
yes.
17. Yes, item 17, item waived by committee chair. Contract for Plant Moran revised fee quote for FY 2020 annual audit. Need a motion to approve. Motion
Moved by
Commissioner.
Kleinfeld.
Support
by
Farrington.
Sabatini.
Is Director Schmigel here?
I am.
All right. You just speak to the revised reason for the quote, a brief summary and the reason why the revised quote.
Yeah, sure thing. Commissioner Brown, good afternoon, commissioners. What you have before you is a request to approve a fee increase for Plant Moran in the amount of $17,100 related to the 2020 audit, more specifically to what's referred to as the single audit, which is the county's compliance with federal grant requirements. Typically, the county spends between $60 and $70 million a year on federal programs, and the audit fee includes about $25,000 for the work related to the single audit. As you can imagine, with the CARES money and all the other coronavirus-related federal money that the county received in 2020, that those expenditures will more than double in dollar amount, which is then going to require or resulting in more work required by the auditors on the single audit for 2020. So that's what's happening here. I have representatives from Plant Moran, Ali Hiljazi, and Lisa Planka, if you have any further questions.
Commissioner Haw.
Thank you, Chair. Steve, just one. We're going to be having, I think Ernest indicated, federal funding moving out all the way through 23. Are we going to annually get a request for an amendment to their contract to be doing auditing on those funds as well? Or is this a one-time deal? And when you have a contract with auditors, I think it says that they will do the auditing of the county regardless of workload. Am I correct in that assumption?
No, the contract as it relates to the single audit includes 5 major programs and then so much for additional per major program. We're going to have enough major programs that require additional work here. Now, more specific to your question, relative to future years, could end up with the same situation. The $26 million of rental assistance may not result in a fee increase. We are set to get $170 million of rescue plan or recovery plan money. And depending on how much we spend of that money in 2021, we could be in the same situation again a year from now. And Ali or Lisa, if you want to chime in.
Yeah, absolutely. Am I off of mute? Just making sure everyone
Yes,
can hear
yes,
me.
you are.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I mean that is an excellent question. And certainly this, we typically would not be coming back for asking for an additional fee. When we give a fee quote based on the scope of what we're given, we honor that as long as we can, but certainly as has been discussed on this call, this CARES Act money is certainly something that was not anticipated at the time that we scoped out this audit with the proposal that we delivered to the commission a few years ago. So this is just unprecedented in the complexity and the size of the program and the scrutiny that this will be under and the number of regulations that are involved. So this is unusual. I would say it's difficult to predict what 2021 and 2022 will look like. It certainly, again, just depends on what programs the additional funding falls under and if it is more typical with what we would expect. And as it becomes a recurring program, if the regulations are simpler, then we would perhaps not need as much of an adjustment, but I do have to defer at this moment, just not knowing what that's going to look like.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, I would also add, it was in the material that the additional fee is an eligible expense under the CARES grant. So this is not additional general fund monies, for example.
Which we're watching.
The fee increase is a CARES eligible expense. So this is not additional general fund dollars paying for this.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Lisa, how complicated is it to run the testing for, I mean, normally you do an audit, you've had been in here several years prior. You've got a system set up to do the audit and run certain tests. This is brand new funding and coming from, is it easier or is it more complicated? How is it? You explain a little bit the scale of the ability of auditing this money and
Yeah, and so within the CARES Act, so clearly it just from a scope perspective, as Steve explained, you're looking at double or more what the typical amount of dollars would be that would be flowing through the federal funds for the county. So even just from a number of samples that we need to look at. So when we're looking at different compliance requirements, the auditing standards dictate that we have to select our samples based on different materiality thresholds and then looking just at the volume of transactions going through a program. So even within the CARES Act, while it might be under one, the term is CFDA number, so that's the numbering system that gets assigned to different grants. Given the number of different programs within this grant, it almost functions as 5 or 6 different grant programs because it's being used in different ways. And so then even within each of those programs, we'll have larger sample sizes, and the complexity is just greater than the programs that we would be testing on a year-over-year basis at the county that are recurring in nature, like the TANF program and other programs that we've audited year over year. So we are experienced with this. This is not the first single audit that we will be doing that is with the CARES Act. So we have worked with other large municipalities, counties, already that have received this money. So we're familiar with the program, but it is just highly complex. It's new. The regulations continue to change also, as we've talked about tonight on this call. So it is just a much different audit than what we've done the last several years for the county.
There's a lot riding on the auditors because there's so much money going through the system.
There is. Yes.
There's going to be held to pay when there's going to be somebody that's found out that the money was spent inappropriately, and people are looking to find out, well, how come we didn't know? And say, well, we audited it, thus and da 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 da, right? So it's very important.
Very important.
Yeah, Commissioner Farrington.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Chair Brown. I just want to say, from my perspective, I used to run a CPA firm. I'm a little surprised it was only 17,000. So thank you, Lisa.
I appreciate that.
Let's see. Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. One of my questions was already asked in regards to if we could use the CARES money to pay for this single audit. I'm in support of this, totally understand the scenario that we're in. My only question is obviously this was never quoted in our original bid. When is our contract through with Plant Moran? What's the term of that contract?
Expired. They audit through the 2021 audit.
Okay, so then in a new RFP, I would assume that these single audits will be requoted right within those?
Yeah, I would suspect so, because we'll be able to disclose what our historic federal spending has been, which will include 2 years of Corona-related.
Mm-hmm. And you're anticipating this through 23, correct, Steve? So, I mean, we're looking through at least 23 on this type of reporting?
Yeah, at least. I mean, if we have 3 years, we have through the end of 2024 to spend the, I call it the rescue plan money that will be coming to the county. So that, we have 3 years, 3.5 years to spend that money.
Okay, great. Thank you for clarification there. Thank you, Lisa, for attending as well. Thank you, Chair.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Lisa, are there any other government requirements that go above and beyond what was required of that you would normally do? Did they write anything in the legislation or the bill that requires you to report anything to the federal government as a result of the work you do for us?
Nothing comes to mind. So this still falls under the Single Audit Act, which is what governs our procedures on federal program compliance. So there are particular rules to every single grant that are tailored to those grants. I'm not aware of anything that would be above and beyond the issuance of our single audit report and the related findings and things that are included in that report.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
I don't have any other speakers. We have a motion that's been made and supported. Please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
Thank you, Mr. Schmiegel, and Lisa, thank you for coming out. Appreciate the information.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for hanging around this lengthy meeting, but
Absolutely.
such is our life sometimes. All right. Item 18 of resolutions. 18A, Resolution 2021-6302, authorizing and filing a petition with the County Public Works Commissioner regarding a 8.5-mile road drainage district project. I need a motion to adopt.
Moved by Michelle Nard.
Motion by Commissioner Kleinfeld, supported by Commissioner Nard. Is there any discussion on this item? Need a motion a motion's been made and supported. Please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
18B, resolution 2021-6312, condemning hate crimes, hateful rhetoric, and hateful acts against Asian Americans and encouraging and the report of hate crimes to the proper authorities. I need a motion to adopt this. Commissioner
Motion to
Song.
adopt by Nard.
Commissioner Wallace. Support Commissioner Wallace.
Okay, very good. Any discussion on this item? Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Very good. Item 19 is a new business. Any new business to come before the committee? Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. Just a couple things really quick. I wanted to touch on the abstention issue. We actually used to have in the rules that the person would explain why they're abstaining, and then the board would vote as to whether or not to let them abstain. That was put in by a previous commissioner, and I disagreed with that because you cannot force an individual to vote. So you can't force them to vote yes or force them to vote no. It's just not possible to make somebody vote. But the reason I wanted to address it is we have to deal with all sorts of things here that are contentious. Julie, is your phone ringing?
Oh, shit.
I'm sorry. And it's not fair. I'm sorry. It's not fair to the other commissioners on a contentious issue when they're forced to make a decision and other commissioners don't. The reason why abstentions are generally for if you personally have a conflict is because we're paid to make these decisions, whether we like to make them or are comfortable. I can't tell you how many times I've cast a vote and I wasn't sure if I should vote yes or no, but I know that I don't have a reason to abstain. Because if a lot of commissioners are feeling that way and they're not exactly sure what to do, then we can't get business done. And when people start abstaining, then more people start abstaining. I know that I've seen it in previous situations that I have been in. MAC legislative was yesterday and today, 9 o'clock in the morning till 2:30 yesterday, 9 o'clock this morning. Until board time, it was still going. So it's been an exhausting day, but there was a lot of very interesting stuff covered, and I'm looking forward to them coming next week because they have a lot of things to fill you guys in on. And that's all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Kleinfeld. Thank you for the background on the abstention. I'm going to have staff send out a memo to the commissioners on clarifying that position and what the guidelines are for that for future use. So we can look at that and we'll deal with it at that time. Next is Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Real quick, I just wanted to congratulate all of our volunteers for all of their hard work over the last year. And I also want to congratulate Donna on being on the CMH board with me for the next 3 years. I've had the opportunity to work with her for the last couple of years, and I know her heart is in the right place, and she's doing it for the right reasons. So I'm looking forward to serving with Donna on that board. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Ha.
Thank you, Chair. I don't know if this is factual or not, but I thought I read on social media that Commissioner...
Right there, it's not factual.
I'm being cautious here, that Commissioner Kraft was once again elected chairman of the CMH board. Is that factual?
It's not once again. This is my first time, but yeah, that part's true.
Hey, congratulations. Well done.
I wanted to congratulate him. Right person, right place, right time. So go get him, my friend. Thank you, Chairman.
Very good. Thank you. Anybody else? The board of the posting for our position at the chief of staff position is due to be posted, hopefully by tomorrow. Hopefully we get it out by the end of the week. So as soon as I get that posting, he'll be the first to see it. So stand by for that. So, all right. Item 20 is public participation. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? You have 5 minutes to speak in any item that you wish. We have 5 minutes, and as always, no distasteful language or foul language will be tolerated. Staff, is there anyone on the line that wishes to be heard?
Chair, we do not appear to have anyone on the phone or listed in the chat box.
You mean they didn't hang around to the end of the meeting? Gosh, okay. Well, that's good. All right, we're going to close public participation.
Mr.
Need
Chair,
a motion to adjourn.
Before you close,
Moved by Romano for adjournment.
Hold on 1 second, Commissioner Kraft.
Donna Conjemi raised her hand.
Okay, I didn't see. Okay, very good. Please, Donna, go ahead.
Thank you. I'll be very quick because I know this has been a long meeting. I would just like to say thank you to all the commissioners for my appointment to the CMH board, regardless of who you voted for. I've dedicated my life to the welfare of those served by this board, so I will do my best to be a positive asset on the board. I look forward to working with Chairman Kraft and Commissioner Wallace. Thank you once again, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Yours is service or testimony to your commitment. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, public participation. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Anyone from the public? One last time, anyone from the public wish to be heard, press *6 on your phone if you're on the phone and we don't know you're there. No one's in the chat box. We'll close public participation. Item 21 is a motion to adjourn. Can I have a motion?
Motion to adjourn by Romano.
Support Wallace.
Very good. Motion's been made and supported. Please vote.
That motion
Good morning,
passes
everyone.
13-0.
Very good. Well, the meeting's done. It was a long meeting, but it beats calling a special meeting on another day on our calendar to do business. So sometimes they come this way, but we're glad it went fairly smooth. And so appreciate you, and we'll see you all around soon. Take care. Good night.
Good night.